The Mets are 14-6 through their first 20 games, and starting pitching has been a big reason why. Tyler Megill got the ball on opening day in the absence of Jacob deGrom, and the Mets starters have run from there. At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Philadelphia Phillies. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Citi. For each home run at Citi Field, Citi will donate $2,000 to No Kid Hungry. By Geico, switch today and see all the ways you could save. By Spectrum, switch and save with Spectrum Mobile, nationwide 5G included. Restrictions apply. Visit SpectrumMobile.com. And by the New York Lottery, visit sny.tv/New York Lottery to enter the Mets bullpen jackpot promotion for your chance to win $10,000 or more. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Rod Darling with you tonight as the Mets open a 7-game homestand with the first of 3 against the Philadelphia Phillies. The Mets took 2 out of 3 in Philadelphia on their first road trip, but the Phillies are playing much better right now, coming off a 4-game sweep of the Colorado Rockies.
Well, you can read all the numbers there, but whenever I think of the Philadelphia Phillies, it goes through Bryce Harper, right? Last 12 games, he's had 9 extra base hits. He's 6 for 15 with runners in scoring position. Then you look at Nick Castellanos, who they signed as a free agent this offseason. He's a guy the last 3 years has led baseball in not only doubles, but also extra base hits. But the Phillies are always the Phillies against the Mets offensively. Why? Because they've got 2 Met killers in that lineup. That's Gene Segura and Kyle Schwarber.
And the bottom line is the Phillies are 3rd in the National League right now in runs per game. So that's the task tonight for Tyler Megill, who takes his 5th turn in the rotation. He's been just fantastic so far.
He has, but I have to say his last start was the most impressive. Watching him mow down those hitters, go right after him, it looked like he had no hit stuff in that game as we went 6 2/3 for a win against the Diamondbacks.
Aaron Nola is the erstwhile ace of the Phillies. He pitched like an ace his last time out against Milwaukee.
Yeah, 1 hit over 7 innings. He struck out 21 of the last 44 hitters he's faced here at Citi Field. This is his 11th start against the Mets here. He's also started 11 times in Philadelphia.
Mets are back in black tonight. First time in 2022 they'll be wearing the black uniforms. The Mets and Phils at Citi Field. All the action coming your way on SNY. Screen to secure yours now. Your Coors Light beating the pressure. Most innings per start. Mets starters have gone deeper into games than any team in the major leagues, coming off the shortened spring training. And the Mets will try and keep that working tonight with Tyler Megill getting the ball against the Phillies on a windy night at Citi Field. Mets and Phils, first pitch is coming up in just moments.
Right.
Well, it is here, the first game of the series against a division rival, walking in with his catcher, James McCann.
It's the greatest mix of nervousness and confidence at the same time as you make that walk. Although I didn't do it with that little bag, but I can understand it. McCann, of course, is trying to go over that game plan. Well, he has been throwing not only hard but accurate since the first game, opening day. Watching him pitch this year, he has taken a big leap forward in many different ways. He's Mets win when he goes out there on the mound. They're 4-0 so far this year, and the confidence he's shown has been amazing. And Aaron Nola is a guy that the Mets have had a couple of really good games against him of late, but he's coming off a hot game. He tends to be a streaky pitcher, and I would expect his best tonight.
And of course, last year here at Citi Field, he tied a major league record by striking out 10 Mets in a row in a June start.
Who originally owned that record?
Well, I believe it was a guy pitching about 500 yards from here. It would have been Mr. Seaver. That record lasted 51 years before anybody tied it, and then Nola did it, and then a few weeks later Corbin Burns did it. There's the Hyundai starting lineup for the Phils. Bryce Harper's been limited to DHing now for almost 2 weeks. He's got a sore right elbow. He's been swinging the bat just fine, but he can't throw, so that puts Nick Castellanos in the outfield on an everyday basis, and the Phillies so far have gotten through without too much defensive woe with the team that they put on the field, including Alec Boehm, who had the 3-error game against the Mets in Philadelphia and has not committed an error since.
Well, to put it in perspective, the Mets have been a very good defensive team. They have 6 errors. The Phillies so far have 10 errors to their squad. McGill's going to go out there again. It's another chilly night here, and he's going to go out there without any sleeves. I don't know how they do it.
Temperature 60, but the wind is blowing at about 23 miles an hour out of the northwest and will be a factor here tonight. There you go.
Should be hard to hit the ball out of the ballpark, especially to left field.
Well, it's been hard to hit the ball out of the ballpark just about everywhere. Lots of conversation about not only the tackiness of the ball, but perhaps the deadness of the ball early in the 2022 season. Home runs are down. Run scoring is down.
Darn humidor.
Maybe that's it. Although they had the humidor at Citi Field last year. But in 21 other ballparks, they did not. Mets and Phillies meeting for the 4th time. By the end of May, they will have faced each other 13 times. And if you're thinking about all the kerfuffle that the Mets had in St. Louis about batters getting hit by pitches, Mets have been hit by 19 pitches, which is the most in baseball. The Phillies have hit the most batters in baseball, 15 already.
See the Toyota numbers for McGill. I'll give you a couple of more. 5 1/3 scoreless against the Phillies when he faced them in Philadelphia. And so far, 23 innings pitched, 3 walks. That's a pretty amazing number for a young pitcher.
Well, there's Bryce Harper, and you can see that under his sleeve there on the right arm, he's wearing some kind of a brace on that elbow. Certainly of concern for Harper, who's gone through a lot of physical issues the last few years, but more often than not has been able to play through it.
Well, defensively for the Mets, what you usually have in the infield, McNeil now has started 9 times at second base, 8 times in left field. McCann behind the plate for this evening's game. And in the outfield, you're going to have Starling Marte in right field with Gold, but his Gold was in left field with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Brandon Nimmo in center, and Mark Canha in left field.
Gene Segura, who has been a Met killer through his career, gets set to lead things off for the Phillies. Is it just me, or when I look down in the field and see Mets in black uniforms, everybody looks like Edgardo Alfonso?
I think it's you, because I don't see that. But I do have to say, I've been asked about the black tops over and over from people, and I really wanted to see it 3 or 4 times. I'm all in. I think it looks nice, and it's a nice exception to a weekly rule.
It's a nice thing to wear on occasion, and I'd love if they mix back in those black New York uniforms every once in a while on the road. Gene Segura leads off. Tyler McGill set to go. His first pitch of the night is a fastball up and away for ball 1, and we're underway. Segura hitting leadoff for the 9th time this year. His on-base percentage is down. Last year it was .348. This year .317. They've mixed and matched in that leadoff spot for the Phillies this year. And he swings and misses at a fastball, and it's 1-1. 96 on that heater from McGill. Segura, since he joined the Phillies, is hitting .383 with an 1120 OPS against the Mets. And he's had some huge hits as well, including a walk-off home run in Philadelphia.
This is his 39th game against the Mets. He's sitting right now at 99 home runs in his career.
Segura now 32 years old, 2-time All-Star. Right now he's riding a 7-game hitting streak. Escobar plays even with the bag against him because Segura every once in a while can lay one down. And McGill Throwing nothing but fastballs. Gets even on Segura, 2-2. Rhys Hoskins on deck, then Bryce Harper for the Phillies.
All pitches have been away so far, all 4 from McGill.
Phillies coming off a 4-game sweep of the Rockies. Won 7-1 yesterday behind Zach Wheeler, who pitched his best game of the year. And the Phillies offense is in the groove. They're 3rd in the National League in runs per game. 2-2 coming, and he fouls that one away. And again, McGill working away from Segura. That one dialed up to 97 miles an hour. Hoskins hitting second in the order. Met pitchers have struck out 201 batters this year. That's the most in the National League. In fact, the Mets are working out a streak of 16 straight games where their pitchers have struck out 7 or more. That's one shy of a club record that Ronnie helped set in 1988. Slashed down the first baseline foul.
So 6 straight fastballs from McGill to Segura. And we've seen this from Tylor in a couple of games this year. He's come out and just been real aggressive with that fastball. Why wouldn't you when you're throwing it 97 miles an hour?
This changeup has become a very important weapon for him. He's thrown it 23% of the time, but not mixing it in yet. This will be the 7th pitch of this opening at bat to Segura. And it's pulled on the ground as he threw the changeup. Throw across the diamond by Escobar, gets Segura by a stride, and that's the first out of the night. So after 6 straight fastballs, McGill goes to a different weapon and gets the ground ball.
21 games now. Eduardo Escobar, I've seen him make one bad throw, and that's when he's come in on the ball, had the throw on the run. When he can set his feet, he hits Alonso in the chest almost each and every time.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Rhys Hoskins. You can see the sun glaring off the windows of the office building in right center field. Every once in a while that'll get in the hitter's eyes. Just for a minute or two at this time of the evening. And McGill pours in a fastball to Hoskins, who's 0 for his last 9, hitting just .206 for the year. Popped up behind first base. Long run for Marte coming toward the line, and it lands just foul. Nobody else had a chance to get anywhere near that ball except Marte with the Mets shifted.
Yeah, we've talked about this a couple of times, Gary, you and I, is that with the speed of Marte, they've been really trying to ensure that they take away that right center field gap, although it looks like he's moved over a little bit now. Because of his speed, they count on him to be able to get to that ball. That's fair.
Very young crew for this game. Ryan Wills, first time we've seen him behind the plate. Jansen Visconti, another young umpire at first. The crew chief Jerry Meals at second, and Vic Carapazza, Long Island native, at third. 0-2 to Hoskins with Harper on deck. 3 infielders now move to the left side. And slider off the plate, 1-2. Hoskins last year 27 home runs. He's hit just 1 in his first 68 at bats this year. He's not alone in having his power fall off this April. It's happened across the sport. Another slider out of the strike zone. It's 2-2. Phillies began the year 4-8, but they're 6-2 in their last 8 games, including that 4-game sweep of the Rockies. Mets beat them 2 out of 3 on that first road trip of the year, and the Phillies didn't look really close to being in sync. Ground ball into the shift. Nice easy hop for Lindor to handle, and he throws out Hoskins 2 away. 2 batters, 2 ground ball outs for Tylor McGill. And so Harper will bat with the bases empty. And gets his initial greeting from the Citi Field fans. Harper coming off his second career Most Valuable Player award last year. Hit .309, 35 home runs, 84 driven in. So off to a good but not great start this year. The one thing that has been notable about Harper is that he is walking a lot less. And that's because he's swinging at the first pitch more than he ever has in his career. Something that started late last year. Let's have the full triangle shift on against Harper. So we'll see if he jumps the first one here. And he does, and he fouls it off. 52% of the time he's swinging at the first pitch this year, which is really an aberration from earlier in his career.
Well, I remember when he first came up, he never swung at the first pitch unless it was later in the game and it was in an RBI situation, just like he was setting you up. But
there you see the difference between his career coming into this year and what he's done so far this year as far as his aggressiveness at that first pitch. And he foul tips one on an inside fastball from McGill, and it's 0-2. But Harper's got 16 extra base hits, which is second in the National League. Just his on-base percentage is down because of the dearth of walks. McGill ahead 0-2. Foul back. 97 on that fastball from Tylor.
There's a little better swing there by Harper, even on the 0-2. 97-mile-an-hour fastball. Nick Castellanos on deck.
Yesterday was the 10th anniversary of Bryce Harper's major league debut. It's hard to believe, isn't it? Came up as a 19-year-old with the Nationals. And bounces that changeup. McGill does 1-2. First overall pick in the 2010 draft, coming out of junior college in Nevada. Made his big league debut just 2 years later. Won an MVP in 2015 and another last year. 1-2 for McGill, and Harper lifts one to center field, playable for Nimmo. And Brandon makes the catch to retire the side. McGill with a 1-2-3 opening inning. Mets come to bat against Aaron Nola with no score. Otherwise, the same lineup the Mets have been going with. Jeff McNeil doing great in the 8-hole, and so Buck Showalter loath to move him from there.
Well, we talked about Nola's start against Milwaukee. 7 innings, 1 hit, 9 punch outs. But prior to that, in 14 2/3 innings, he had given up 9 runs. This is his 22nd start against the Mets. He's 9-4 with the ERA a shade over 3. Here's the Phillies starting infield. JT Realmuto and his goal behind the plate. Alec Boehm, like Gary said, hasn't made an error since he had those 3 errors against the Mets. 16 games. Schwarber, Herrera, and Castellanos in the outfield.
It wasn't just the 3 errors. It was him saying on camera, "I hate this place," and then apologizing for it later, saying how embarrassed he was, and then the fans giving him a standing ovation the next day. And I think that really boosted him.
Yeah, okay.
Brandon Nimmo leads off against Nola. Brandon 2 for 13 in the series in St. Louis. And he takes a first pitch fastball for a strike. 2 hits, but they drove in 4 runs. A 2-run homer in the Monday game, and then a 2-run double in the game yesterday, or Wednesday.
Career versus Nola, 10 for 30 with a home run.
And he hits one toward the middle of the diamond. That'll go through for a base hit. So no shift against Nimmo. And that cost the Phillies a possible out by spreading it out. It left the middle open, and Nimmo has a leadoff hit.
You know, Gary, we've gotten to the point in our game that if a left-handed batter hits something to the right of second, we expect it to be an out. But without the shift, it makes its way into the outfield, and Nimmo on again.
And we've seen the adjustment that teams have made against several of the Mets' left-hand hitters over the course of the season. Nimmo and McNeil both were being played to pull earlier, now less so, because they've shown that they can use the whole field. They're starting Marte, 2 for 13 in the series in St. Louis.
You know, Nimmo's been very good this season on secondary pitches. This is a changeup from Nola that he leaves up in the strike zone, and Brandon has been spot on against those pitches.
Marte 4 for 12 against Nola, and he shoots one foul. The Mets had a good day against Nola the first time they faced him in Philadelphia this year. Knocked him out in the 4th inning. Gave up 3 hits, walked 3.
Hit 2 batters.
Yeah, well, isn't that every day? Nola's always been tough to run on. No steals in 1 attempt so far this year.
So just thinking about it, it all goes hand in hand, right? They're not shifting Nimmo because he's proved that he's staying behind the ball and hitting it the other way, which means he's not out in front. And if you're not out in front, you're going to be able to handle secondary pitches. It all works together.
Aaron Nola had the great 2018, but he's had trouble matching that since. But coming off his best start of the year his last time out, when he gave up just 1 hit, well, he's given up 1 hit already today. That's hit down to third, should be 2. Bohm to Segura, and on to first, and they turn 2 against Marte. 5-4-3 double play, 2 out and nobody on.
Well, Bohm makes a pretty good throw, although it's a little into the runner for Segura. But, you know, in today's game, that's not going to really matter because you're not going to be taken out. So Bohm starts this series defensively on a much lighter note.
He's not going to be a pretty fielder. It's all arms and legs, but if he can just make the routine play.
There you go.
Because he can't hit. We saw it his rookie year, and he's doing it this year. Now he's going to play shallow right field against Francisco Lindor, with the shortstop Gregorius playing a third base position and in on the grass on the first pitch. Now he backs up.
Where's the NY?
Did he lose his logo?
Maybe we're going without a logo tonight.
Changeup misses inside, a ball and a strike. Lindor snapped an 0 for 15 stretch his last at bat on Wednesday with a long double to left center in St. Louis. And he pops this one up in his shallow center. Odubel Herrera coming on. Gregorius going out. He can't find it, and it drops. Lindor took a turn. He'll hold at first base. Should have been Herrera's ball all the way, but he thought that Gregorius was going to take it, and Gregorius never saw it. It'll be scored a base hit for Lindor, a fortunate one at that.
Well, just Segura gets lost here. Look, he looked up a second time. He just lost the ball, and we've seen before that ball can get lost at this time at night.
But why did Herrera stop?
Well, because
I want to know.
You know, he's he's not a leather guy. He's a hitting guy.
Well, that's really the case with this entire Phillies team, and that was the concern going into the season, that as much as they have beefed up their offense, that their defense might suffer. So the Mets get a break there, and now Pete Alonso will bat. Pete's got 3 career home runs against Nola, but the home runs have not been coming of late for Alonso. Close play at first, and Lindor gets the hand back. In fact, each of Pete's last 11 hits have all been singles. He's gone 38 at bats now since his last home run.
Boy, look at the marks on the bat from batting practice and in game from the ball hitting the bat.
Pete's got a logo on his helmet, Ronnie. But if you don't have a logo on your helmet, maybe you get a fortunate hit. Hoskins saying, what happened there? You're empty.
See, everyone notices, right?
There'll be some equipment repair going on before his next at bat. You can bet on that.
That's the helmet that players use when they do an advertisement and the company did not pay for MLB rights. That's the helmet that they use.
See, I thought that was just Photoshop. No photoshopping here. This is live and in color. Well, black, sort of color. Really an absence of color if you come right down to it. White is all color. Black is the absence of color. I think that's what I learned in art class in 3rd grade. Good cut by Pete, and he fouls it back 0-2.
You know, in today's game, the collateral effect that a drop pop-up has on your star pitcher. Not only does he have to throw more pitches, he's got to face a guy that has incredible power. Where you'd be, Pete would be leading off the second inning, but he jumps up 0-2 anyway.
Much like Harper, Pete's walk numbers have been way down this year. He's only walked 3 times in the first 20 games, which is odd. He's actually been hit by pitches more often than he's walked.
I think it says more about the depth of the lineup for the Mets that they have to pitch to Pete.
Nola, who generally works at a pretty good pace, has been working very slowly trying to get through this first inning. Eduardo Escobar would be next. Lindor at first with 2 out. And the curveball off the plate, 1-2. Well, Aaron Nola had that great 2018. Not quite since, but he has taken the ball. He made 32 starts last year.
Finished third in that Cy Young behind Jacob, of course, and Max Scherzer.
Another curveball off the plate, and it's 2-2.
Nola in the past, when he's gone away to try to get Pete to swing at a ball off the plate with a slider, has countered with that fastball right at his hands inside. Let's see if he still goes by that plan. He might change it up because of Pete's excellent numbers against him.
Well, the other piece is that, Nola, who used to throw more 92, 93, has been in the 89 to 91 category so far in this first inning.
Sometimes those innings catch up.
Well, you just don't know how much he's trusting his fastball right now. Lindor at first with 2 down. And that one sails high, 3-2. So Lindor will be running. Nola had Alonso 2 strikes. Now he's gone full. Pinman is in evidence. I wonder how much all that weighs.
Yeah. We could get Steve on it. I mean, not tonight, Steve, but someday. You had a big day yesterday. Go easy.
Steve's still celebrating the Jets' first round. You kidding me? Not sure he's come out of that heaven yet. Lindor gets set to run, 3-2 to Alonso, and the breaking ball struck him out. He went off the plate with the curveball, but got Pete to chase. And Nola works his way through first inning trouble. No score after 1. City Community Home Runs fan of the game is Diane Marie from Pueblo, Colorado. Go to sny.tv/CHR to enter. Good luck, Diane Marie. Diane Marie. It's a lovely name. It's a new one for us. Nick Castellanos takes curveball outside from Tylor McGill as we start the second inning. Castellanos, first year with the Phillies after signing a free agent deal, and he's off to a nice start, hitting .319, 10th in the National League. Probably played the outfield more than the Phillies expected with Harper's elbow acting up. It's actually worked out for him because he's most comfortable in right field, and when Harper's healthy, right field is not available. Castellanos, Realmuto, and Schwarber for the Phillies, and that one sails high, and it's 3-0.
Castellanos has a great grip on the strike zone, understands it completely. Thing that makes him awfully tough is you see Realmuto on deck. He's got tremendous power to right center and right field, so he can't just stay away from him.
And a good series against the Mets in Philly, went 5 for 11, and he takes a fastball strike, 3-1. Three infielders on the left side against Castellanos. He slashes one foul, 3-2. McGill mostly attacking with fastballs. The Phillies have been a really good fastball hitting team early in the season. As a team, they have an .825 OPS against fastballs. That's third best in the majors. Against non-fastballs, .615. Still not bad, 11th in the majors, but they have definitely been a fastball hitting team. 3-2 coming, and he got him looking at a fastball. Castellanos obviously expecting something else. Takes the fastball for McGill's first strikeout of the night. Well, first time around on that first Mets road trip, Phillies rallied against the Mets bullpen in the 8th in the first game, and then the Mets won the next two with McGill pitching brilliantly in the second game and Scherzer in the third. There's JT Realmuto. And he takes a fastball for a strike. So McGill just keeps on attacking.
James McCann doing a nice job of snatching that fastball that's down in the zone. Just bringing it right across the knees.
24 pitches, 17 fastballs so far, and there's another one up and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. McGill has thrown his fastball about 57% of the time this year, but he's above that number so far tonight.
Yeah, that's a high rate in today's game.
This is with the slider, and it's 2-1. The thing about it is that the first 2 starts of the year, McGill was throwing fairly consistently at 99, 98 miles an hour. And in the starts since then, he's settled into a nice range somewhat below that, where he's had a little more command perhaps. Threw that one by Realmuto, 2-2. But the funny thing about that was that coming out of those first 2 starts, he was talking about throwing 100. And Buck Showalter kind of blanched when he heard that. And ever since, he hasn't been throwing 99 anymore.
Yeah, pump the brakes, big fella.
We need you for the full season. And they are cognizant of the fact that McGill may need some extra days off here and there. Last year threw more innings than he ever had, and they'll probably end up capping him around 160 innings this year, I would think. So they'll steal a start from him here and there to make that work. Nobody was expecting him to be the Mets opening day starter, and certainly nobody was expecting him to pitch as well as he has over these first 4 starts. I mean, if all had gone according to plan, McGill would have started the year as a depth option in AAA. Yes. Or maybe in the bullpen. But with DeGrom out and Walker delayed, it gave McGill the opportunity, and he has run with it. And he's been nothing short of spectacular. 7th pitch of the at bat, and Realmuto reaches for the slider and fouls it off.
Against the Arizona Diamondbacks, he wasn't afraid to throw that changeup versus the right-handed hitters. Hasn't really used that yet. Might be a good time now. Seems like Realmuto has gotten on the fastball. Good job of fouling back that slider.
Kyle Schwarber waiting on deck. 8th pitch of the at bat, and that's hit in the air to left. Over toward the line comes Canna, and he runs it down. So Realmuto hooking that slider to left field, and Canna makes the play for the second out. 5 up and 5 down for McGill.
Well, Canna always seems to get a good jump. Doesn't have great speed, but does a real positive job in left field defensively.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Kyle Schwarber, who began the year as the Phillies leadoff hitter. He led off the first 8 games, started out 3 for 32, and so Joe Girardi made the adjustment and dropped him in the order. Still trying to get his season going. But obviously the Mets know full well what Schwarber is capable of. As McGill throws a fastball by him. Last year, 10 games against the Mets, Schwarber hit 9 home runs. Including 5 in a 2-game span with the Nationals before he got traded to the Red Sox. Up and in, a ball and a strike. Well, Daryl's in the house wearing his own jersey.
It's like he doesn't need to wear a jersey for people to know him.
I mean, lots of people wear Daryl's jersey. You just don't expect Daryl to be one of them.
I mean, he could have a tux on, you know who it is.
I mean, few people in this world are more readily identifiable than Darryl Strawberry. It's good to have Daryl in the house.
Yes.
Makes his home in St. Louis these days.
That's great.
1-2 coming to Schwarber. Up and in. So McGill working a lot inside to Schwarber.
Straw was the first professional athlete I had ever met that you looked at him and you said, oh, some of the guys are different. I mean, I'm serious.
Full shift against Schwarber with McNeil playing in the outfield. And that went off the fists, a foul ball. Well, Daryl was asked about the Mets dust up in St. Louis, and his answer was straight out of 1986. He said, well, somebody's got to charge the mound. Which, of course, was easy for him to say.
He did it plenty.
Never forget him chasing Jeff Musselman around Dunedin. And Schwarber just got a piece of that slider.
He would have chased him to the ABC lounge around the corner if Musselman kept running.
Funny thing is, later that season, the Mets traded for Musselman.
A mistake. No.
Well, they traded Mookie to Toronto, and they got Musselman
Listen,
back.
Jeff was a great guy. Great guy. Just he and Straw should not have been put on the same bus.
Now, you know, I mean, you are a little prejudiced. Jeff is a Harvard guy.
Yeah. No, he's a great guy.
He's a good guy.
It's like trying to put Buddy Harrelson and Pete Rose on the same team.
20 pitches already to 3 batters in this inning for McGill. And he goes to the changeup, and it just missed. Full count to Schwarber. And the third changeup he's thrown in the first 2 innings.
Got to give Schwarber credit here. It's a real good battle at bat for him.
Schwarber will make you work. He's thrown a lot of walks over his career. And the breaking ball just missed. McGill thought he maybe should have had it, but Schwarber draws a 2-out walk. Rookie home plate umpire Ryan Wills called it ball 4, and the Phillies have their first base run.
I think it was the right call. He's been giving him that fastball down in the strike zone, but did not give him the changeup down in the strike zone.
So here is Alec Bohm, who is hitting the way he hit in his rookie season when he finished high in the Rookie of the Year balloting. Struggled last year, but he's come back this year after some defensive issues. And he's hitting .326.
He did something, Gary, that you don't see young hitters do. .452 with runners in scoring position. He was money with the game on the line.
That was his rookie year.
Yep.
He's had just 46 at bats this year, and he's got 14 RBIs, so he has been very productive early in the year. Wasn't getting a chance to play every day early on. They had Bryson Stott, who was sharing time with him at third base. Stott's since been sent to the minor leagues, and Bohm now getting a chance to play every day. And Bohm takes the slider outside, 2-1.
So what we've seen that's a little different so far early now from McGill is that when we were watching the game in Arizona, wherever the catcher put his glove, he hit the glove. Every breaking ball was close enough to the strike zone. We've seen some non-competitive pitches.
Right center field, on comes Nimmo, and he gets there to run it down. Ball held up just long enough for Brandon to get there and retire Bohm to get McGill through the top of the second. No score at Citi Field. Stream out-of-market regular season games live or on demand, plus MLB Big Inning and select pre- and post-game coverage. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Just looking at MLB TV right there between innings, checking out what's going on in the other games, seeing that the Marlins are ahead again. Marlins are playing great right now. 5 straight wins. They're up 6-3 on the Mariners in the third. Eduardo Escobar leads off for the Mets in the home second. And fouls off the first pitch fastball for Aaron Nola. Escobar went 4 for 11 in the series in St. Louis. Continues to get on base at a prodigious pace, .395 on base percentage, walking more than he ever has in his career. And if you go inside the numbers on Escobar, what you find is the reason he's walking is they're not throwing him strikes. It's got the 5th lowest in zone pitches of anybody in the major leagues. Why is that? I don't know. Small sample size. He rips that one down the right field line, and it goes foul. Got ahead of that curveball by Nola, couldn't keep it fair, and it's 1-2.
Not by much. Well, in the past, when I've watched Escobar play, and when I've thought about how pitchers go about getting him an out, he was so aggressive that you didn't have to throw him strikes. So I think they're using that game plan, but all of a sudden he's not swinging at bad pitches, and that I think will be an adjustment for the pitchers as they go along.
14 walks already this year for Escobar. That's 4th in the league. It's never been a category where he rated high. Too high, and it's 2-2.
First one up around head high. Wasn't inside though, or not inside like the Mets have seen inside.
I wonder, Ronnie, if you're the Phillies and you're coming into this series and you've just read for the last 48 hours about how the Mets have been hit by so many pitches and it's been a controversy and they had a bench clearing incident, does it have any effect on a pitcher when he goes out to face the Mets at the start of this series?
I've never heard of it. In my day, you never spent 1 second thinking about, boy, this team's been hit a lot. We better be careful and not throw inside.
And the curveball gets him looking. Beautiful backdoor curve by Nola for his second strikeout.
You know, but there's a lot more known about the incidents now because of everything that you read, and it's all everywhere. But you know, you would never think like that. You would go in with your game plan, and guys that you had to pitch in, you pitched in, and that's the only thought you would have. It would not be a reluctance to throw inside because they've been hit so often. Maybe even the opposite.
There's Robinson Cano. 0 for 4 in the series in St. Louis. Just 7 for 38 to start the year. And the days are starting to grow short before teams have to cut down from 28 to 26 players. And you know, you can't account for all scenarios between now and Monday when those cuts have to come. But the Mets have drawn up probably half a dozen different scenarios to cover who stays and who goes. And obviously a lot of the conversation centers around Cano, who's off to a slow start. He's 39 years old. He's coming off a year on the sidelines last year because of suspension. You don't know what he's capable of at age 39.
Well,
and he's owed a ton of money.
Well, what's interesting is Keith has always talked about older players and their bat speed. And if you look at his spray chart so far, his spray chart says one thing. He is not pulling the baseball. His hits, in fact, are to the opposite field. So that would say at this point in the season, a lot of cold games, different weather, he has not been able to, his bat speed is not there yet, and he's not been able to pull the ball.
And yet the defense is playing him to pull. And he goes down swinging on a high fastball. That's 3 straight strikeouts for Nola. 2 down in the second. So 2 out and nobody on. Marcana coming up. We check in with Steve Gelb. Steve.
So Gary, I just want to go back to what you guys were talking about a second ago, whether or not the public scrutiny on the Mets getting hit by pitches would deter any opposing pitcher from throwing inside. And certainly, you know, Ronnie, you know better than I, but I will say this: in the Mets clubhouse, there is a belief and there's an appreciation amongst a lot of the players for the fact that Buck has made it so public and talked about it so often, because they believe internally that not everybody, but some teams may shy away from throwing inside just because they don't want to deal with what's been going on at this point.
Well, then the Mets win. If this is a premeditated thing for Buck to make it so public that it's going to make some team reluctant to throw inside, then boy, that is quite a master play. Queen's Gambit.
Telling you, 12-dimensional chess. Canada takes a curveball for a strike, and it's 1-1. Well, there were meetings today at Citi Field with Buck and Billy Epler and some of the players as well. A lot of the pitchers, some of the position players as well, with representatives from Major League Baseball to talk about what's happened, what the causes might be, what's being done at the Major League Baseball level to try and obviate the problem. And I didn't hear any specifics from those meetings, but Buck Showalter said that he appreciated the conversation, that he thought it was a good give and take.
Well, we were lucky that some representatives from Major League Baseball talked to us on the phone, and they were great in letting us know some of the things that they're thinking about, and I'm sure some of those same things were relayed to the Mets this afternoon.
One, two, and Canada grounds one to third. Bohm reaches out to stab it, and he gets Canada to end the inning. I told you he's not elegant, but he got the job done. No score after 2 at Citi Field. Week on the road in Phoenix and St. Louis, and back home in New York for 7 games in 6 days.
Tall buildings leading into Greenwich Village, where you have little buildings, and then back up in the middle of the city.
All you got to do to be big in this town is to leap those tall buildings in a single bound. Didi Gregorius slashes one foul. Didi hitting 8th in the order. They've got some lower part of the order, the Phillies. It really gives you an idea just how potent of an offensive force they can be, with Schwarber 6th, Bohm 7th, Gregorius 8th, and Odubel Herrera 9th. That's about as good a 6 through 9 as you're going to find. Didi's off to a fast start. He's hitting .311, including that big hit he had against the Mets in Philadelphia. He breaks his bat and flares one to McNeil, and that's the first out. Here's the hit for Didi against Seth Lugo, as the Phillies rallied for 5 runs in the 8th inning to shock the Mets on April 11th in the second game of that series. So 1 out now. Odubel Herrera, who wasn't with the Phillies when the Mets saw them a few weeks ago. He was out with an oblique injury when the year began. The Phillies have had a big turnover already this year in center field, trying to figure out who belongs there. Mickey Moniak, their former first-round pick, was supposed to be that guy, but he broke his hand right before the end of spring and is still out. So they've now shuffled Odubel in there.
He's got 9 lives, Odubel.
Well, he had the suspension for domestic violence back in 2019, missed all of 20. And then it was surprising to a lot of people that the Phillies brought him back last year, but they did, and he played a lot and played pretty well. And so back for another go-around in 2022. Jubal had a home run against McGill last year. Tyler had one start against the Phillies last year, took a loss, and then he had that terrific start against the Phillies the last game of the series a few weeks ago.
Well, we know one pitcher who won't be back from the domestic violence policy anytime soon.
Well, that is Trevor Bauer, who today was handed a 2-year suspension. Not 2 years from when he was first put on the sidelines, but 2 years from today. And it's the sternest penalty that Major League Baseball has handed out in that realm.
He's appealed. No one has ever appealed before.
Well, it was also the first time that there was no negotiated penalty as Herrera strikes out for the second out. They didn't ask. They just imposed, and we'll see what comes of his appeal.
Well, looks like he got caught looking for something else, because that ball was in the glove before he swung the bat. Open stance, sits on that back leg, closes the stance up, and just late. That's why I'm still not a proponent of the catcher's interference. He could have hit the glove there, and he would have got awarded first base.
Now Gene Segura chases a slider. Segura bounced out to third base his first time up. McGill starting his second time around the batting order. 1 base runner so far. That was Schwarber, who walked on a close 3-2 pitch in the second. And Segura lines one to center. On comes Nimmo, diving, and he made the catch. Nimmo with a splendid play to take a base hit away from Segura. Brandon Nimmo now a fixture in center field. He has gotten so good out there. Home third inning. Jeff McNeil leads off against Aaron Nola. McNeil had a terrific road trip, went 7 for 15 in Arizona and St. Louis, raised its average to 328, 6th in the National League, and slashes the first one foul, 0-1. McNeil, McCann, and Nimmo 8, 9, and 1 in the Mets batting order in the third. Nola gave up 2 hits in the first inning. Struck out 3, walked none. No knob needed. Changeup misses down and away. A ball and a strike. Your Home Depot getting more done. Highest average for a Met against the Phillies. Wally Backman, name misspelled. Gary Carter, and then Jeff McNeil. They spelled it the way Charlie Blackmon spells his last name, with an O.
Phil Blackmon.
There goes Bohm moving into shallow right.
Be the best in shape Philly by August 15th.
Goes running in. 1-2 to McNeil. And he fouls back a high fastball. You've heard no squawking from Jeff McNeil about batting 8th. Right now, Buck Showalter likes the feel of that with McNeil hitting 8th. He said it gives him more of a table set for the top of the batting order than it would if McNeil were, say, hitting 6th and Cano were hitting 8th. Curveball lined right at the shortstop Gregorius, and that's the first out. Let's go back to the Brandon Nimmo catch, the Tri-Acura precision play of the game.
Well, what has come into Brandon Nimmo's game is a confidence and aggressiveness that he started to have last year. He's got it in spades this year, and I think it's because of positioning. He starts where he's comfortable, and the positioning of the outfielders. We always talk about the infielders, but the positioning of the outfielders for the Mets this year has been pretty impeccable.
And talking to Brandon during spring training, he feels also that he's faster now. They worked very hard with him in terms of getting that initial burst. Worked with him about strengthening the correct muscles to make sure that he could explode better with that first step, and it seems to have paid off for him. James McCann last started on Tuesday, had a big day, 3 for 4, double RBI. His bat has been much better the last 10 days than the first 10 days. And he takes a fastball for a strike, and Nola's ahead 0-2. Nola at his best is a strike throwing machine.
Yes.
Even last year when he was struggling, averaged less than 2 walks per 9 innings.
With all his pitches, gets ahead of hitters as good as any pitcher in the game.
And he strikes out McCann with a curveball. That's his 4th strikeout, first time through the batting order. 2 out and nobody on in the 3rd.
Remember, the Mets recently were in St. Louis, and the pitcher that gave him the most trouble as a starter was Miles Mikolas, who was a strike thrower, and he got the same with Nola. See where that ball ends up in the other batter's box. That's how much break. Starts on the outside corner and ends up in the other batter's box.
So since Lindor's pop fly single, Nola's retired 6 in a row, striking out 4 of the 6. Here's Nimmo, who had a base hit to center to lead off for the Mets, and he takes a strike. And as was the case the first time when Nimmo singled up the middle, they've got the infield spread out against him. No shift. And a fastball off the plate, a ball and a strike.
Watch the grip of the curveball from Nola. It's a tight knuckle curve. That pointer finger provides a knuckle on the seam, and it just turns it over with that knuckle coming through the ball.
Harder to control a knuckle curve than a conventional curve?
No, I remember watching Mike Mussina when he first started throwing it. He was the real first great pitcher I saw throw it. I know others have thrown it before. But no, that grip really is, it puts all the weight on your middle finger, and that's what the ball comes off and gives it such great spin.
Remember when Bert Hooton first started throwing the knuckle curve back in the 70s, nobody knew what it was.
Yep.
Everybody thought it had some relationship to a knuckleball, but of course a knuckleball you hold with your fingernails, whereas a knuckle curve you actually hold with one knuckle.
Yeah, right on the seam. The last 53 batters Nola has faced here at Citi Field, he has struck out 25 of them.
Nimmo fights off the fastball.
94 miles an hour, so throwing harder now here in the 3rd than he was in the 1st.
It's the hardest one he's thrown so far tonight.
Blowing in his hand. Very cool night. Makes the ball very slippery. If you blow in your hand, provides enough perspiration on your fingertips to grip the ball. There's your knuckle curve.
And he misses with it. Seemed to slip on him. 3-2. Talk to the pitchers about pitching on nights like this. Not just the cold, but even more so the wind. That sometimes that ball can feel like a cue ball.
Yeah.
That's what Scherzer said after his last start in the cold.
Gave up a whole hit in that game.
Yeah. Can't be perfect.
Well, he can, practically.
3-2 coming. And Nimmo fights off another fastball. Well, he was as close to perfect as you could be that game at Citi Field back in 2015 against the Mets. There was what, 1 error? The only base runner?
1 error. It wasn't a hit batter, right? No, there was another time he had a perfect game going, and he hit Tabata for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
That was his first no-hitter that year. So he came pretty close twice.
Tabata. Sorry.
Jose Tabata. Yeah.
Why that is in the gray matter, I don't know.
It's so much
nonsense.
8th pitch to Nimmo, and he takes a fastball for strike 3 call. 5 strikeouts in the first 3 innings for Aaron Nola. Scoreless game as we go to the 4th. Well, Lady Liberty looking just resplendent in the harbor.
It is quite remarkable when you visit and spend the whole, an afternoon there.
You ever climbed up inside?
I have.
It's the best.
Amazing.
When I was a kid, they let you climb up into the torch.
Oh, they did.
I don't think they let you do anymore. There's Rhys Hoskins, who grounded out to short his first time up, facing Tyler McGill to start the fourth. And Tyler works him away with a fastball, 1-1. Hoskins, Harper, and Castellanos, 2, 3, and 4 in the Phillies batting order. First time up, McGill kept that ball away from Hoskins and doing the same.
Let's see if he changes his MO a little bit the second time through. Real hard, mostly fastballs the first time through the lineup.
And goes away with a slider and falls behind 3-1. .65% fastball so far from McGill. And Hoskins takes one for a strike. As McGill came inside that time, and it's 3-2. McGill looking back at the rookie home plate umpire Ryan Wills. Harper next. Tyler McGill starting the Mets' 5th time through their rotation. Mets have won each of his first 4 starts. Hoskins turns one foul. Spectrum Mobile high-speed pitch. Not too many people are going to top McGill this year. He's thrown as hard as 99 this year. He's dialed it up to 97 tonight. For a lot of deep counts so far in this game. Another one here to Hoskins, who gets under one to left field. Canna should have plenty of room. One out. See him stagger with the wind at the last moment.
The ball starts looking like a knuckleball as it's coming through the air.
I mean, anything hit high enough that it gets near the top rim of the stadium is going to be wobbly for a little while. Bryce Harper welcomed for his second at bat. Flied out to center his first time up. Let's put the full shift on against Harper with McNeil about 20 feet into the outfield. He gets this one in the air to right center. Angling in is Nimmo with Marte, and Marte takes charge of it. 2 out. So again, Harper swings at the first pitch. This is a different Bryce Harper, and it really has to affect, I would think, the way you attack him, especially early in the count.
Well, the first time he threw a fastball right down the middle, and he was a little late on it. That time countered with a curveball, but Harper was able to put it in play.
So 2 at bats, and Harper attacking the first pitch in both, and that's been the way he's gone. So here's Castellanos. McGill has retired 11 of the first 12, including Castellanos looking at a fastball on a 3-2 pitch his first time up, when clearly he was expecting something else.
Swung around to pull side in the infield. Nimmo's playing him to right center.
Shifty business. Just away, 2 balls, no strikes.
Be careful with that one, my friend.
Got ground ball outs from the first 2 batters. Nothing on the ground since for McGill. He misses down with a changeup, and it's 3-0. McGill has walked 1. He struck out 2. It's not yet allowed a hit. JT Realmuto would be next.
Could see a swing here.
2 out, nobody on. Why not?
Yep.
4th 3-ball count of this game for McGill. And he does swing and hits it into the shift, and Lindor is right there to sweep it up and throw out Castellanos. So McGill with a 1-2-3 fourth has now retired 7 in a row. Still no score. Mets and Phillies, how often do they finish first and second for the division lead? Well, they've only done it 4 times. You know, since they came into the league in '62, the Mets and Phillies have played more games against each other than any other 2 teams, but they've had very few close races. '07 and '08 really were the only times they've ever battled it out going down the stretch, and it didn't go well for the Mets either one of those years. Starling Marte leads off the home 4th inning against Aaron Nola. We got Marte to ground into a double play after a leadoff hit in the first. Hoskins in on the grass at first base, and Marte takes a cutter off the plate for ball 1. Marte, Lindor, and Alonso second time through the order against Nola. Nola struck out 5 of the first 10 hitters tonight, but that's kind of a piece. Grounded to short, and waiting on it is Gregorius, and throws out Marte 1 away. So he's now faced 55 batters, Nola has, in his last 3 starts at Citi Field, and struck out 26 of the 55, nearly half the hitters. Well, Francisco Lindor has located the decal, and it is now on his helmet after being bereft of decal in his first at bat. So all is right with the black helmeted world.
Sorry, Kevin Kierst. He's probably cursing us up here in the booth.
I would like to know exactly what happened. If the logo fell off, or there was some other mishap. It worked for Lindor with the helmet Sans logo. He had a pop fly into shallow center that Gregorius seemed to lose in the twilight, and it fell for a hit. And he takes a curveball for a strike, 1-1.
Kevin Kierst is the Mets clubhouse manager, and they are in great hands.
Great clubhouse manager, and has the greatest bobblehead collection I have ever seen. Walk in his office, and it's like, where do you look first? Every bobblehead you can ever imagine from every era of bobblehead baseball.
You know, the clubhouse manager in Los Angeles, the Dodgers, has a great one too.
Here will be the test, though. Will Kevin collect our bobbleheads?
Would you?
It's a really good question.
There you go.
Wouldn't want to defile his collection.
Yeah, exactly.
And Lindor tries to hold the swing on the changeup and somehow kept it back in time. But Carapazza with the call, 2-2.
So he kind of flicked it out there. Here's what Vic Carapazza is looking at. Does he think he went around? Well, he did an amazing job. Everything went through except the head of the bat for Francisco there. His knees, his feet, his shoulders.
Well, I'll say this. Wilmer Flores swung less than that. He got called out.
That was tragic that happened.
That's how the Giants season ended last year against Max Scherzer.
That's right.
Three and 2 to Lindor. And Francisco goes down swinging on a high fastball, and that's 6 strikeouts now for Aaron Nola. So he's rolling. He's retired 9 in a row and struck out 6 of the 9.
This fastball up after a heavy dose of knuckle curves by Nola. You see a lot of pitches, curveballs that started right at that same plane and then became a curveball, and that one just stayed true.
With some pitchers, I know, hitters say you can see the curveball coming out of their hand because it kind of goes up. With some pitchers, they tunnel it in a way that you can't identify it at all. And judging by what we've seen over the years with Nola and the reactions to him, I get the impression that he's a guy you can't see it.
Yeah, he has great tunneling. All the pitches come from the same area. He does not give one away. He does not give up his changeup.
And Alonso struck out on a curveball first time up, declined to chase that one, 1-1.
So he's got different shapes to his slider curveball as well. And if you'll notice, he's got different speeds on it. He's throwing the real hard one to Pete.
Yeah, 80 miles an hour. That's about where his curveball tops out. Another curve. This time he did get him to chase, and it's 1-2.
He's really got a beautiful motion. High leg kick. And as he drops down, he's all arms and legs. A lot of guys are taught today to have that real short take back on the pitch. He's got a real long take back and always ends up in the same position. It's really a beautiful windup, and we don't see enough windups in today's game.
1-2 coming to Alonso, and he misses upstairs with a fastball. 2-2. Nola now 28 years old, first round pick in 2014. He was the 7th overall pick in the draft coming out of LSU. He is the younger of the two Nola brothers. Took his brother Austin a little while longer to get to the big leagues. Austin now a fixture in San Diego. Speaking of brothers, did you see the Contreras brothers last night?
Oh, that was really emotional, right?
William had just been called up on the Braves, and they arranged it that he and Wilson, the Cubs catcher, would each carry out the lineup card, and they shared a huge hug at home plate. It was great. 3-2 to Alonso, and he got him with a curveball again. Second time Nola's gone to the curve to strike out Alonso. 7 Ks in the first 4 innings for Nola, and we've got a real pitcher's duel going here. And Sunday at 6 p.m. only on SNY. It was really nice of the NFL to arrange their draft so that Steve could do the show last night on a Mets day off.
Yeah.
And he could do the wrap-up show on Sunday night when we're not doing the broadcast. I think that was really cool of the NFL to arrange it just around Steve's schedule.
Well, I think he and the commissioner are neighbors. So, you know, they probably had a discussion and said, hey, listen, Raj, I got to have it.
Does Raj have a nice backyard?
I'm sure he does. As nice a backyard as you can get.
JT Realmuto leading off in the 5th inning. He flied out the left his first time up. And a good high fastball from McGill. 0-2. McGill's allowed just 1 base runner through the first 4 innings. That was Schwarber, who's on deck. He walked in the 2nd. The longest that McGill has ever gone into a big league start without allowing a hit. Realmuto, Schwarber, and Bohm up for the Phillies in the 5th. Phillies come off an offensive explosion the last 4 days against the Rockies, but this is different, facing a Mets team that has been the best starting pitching staff in baseball over the early part of the year, led by McGill. Inside 2-2. Two opening day starters going head to head tonight. McGill, who was the default opening day starter, against Nola, who's started 5 straight opening days now for the Phillies. And he gets Realmuto to chase. Good slider by McGill for his 3rd strikeout. He's retired 8 in a row. We check in with Steve.
Well, first of all, guys, Roger Goodell does have a nice backyard. Not as nice as mine, though. just throwing that out there. But, you know, listen, Tyler McGill, he has faced this Phillies lineup now for the 2nd time in 2.5 weeks. The Mets play the Phillies a lot early on this season. And fans may wonder, you have success, such recent success against the lineup. Do you preemptively make an adjustment, or do you wait them out and attack them the same way next time out? And James McCann was saying, you know, when it comes to pitching, that's proactive. Hitting is reactive. So you need to see the hitter make that adjustment first. However, it may not be the type of extreme adjustment you'd expect. You don't need to see a hitter, you know, hit a home run or scorch a ball. said it's much more subtle second time around. So let's say that you attacked the guy with the changeup, got him out with a changeup, and in the next game, James McCann notices that that particular hitter is creeping up to the top of the box. You know, okay, he's made that adjustment. He's trying to eliminate that changeup. We have to adjust back. So it's subtle and quick awareness to make that adjustment. But until the hitters adjust, you attack them the same way.
Yeah, that's a truism right there. Very good, Steve. I think what's difficult is if you do it in a real close proximity. Now think about it. If I could be wrong, but I think he will have 3 starts of his 6 against the Phillies. He won't pitch against the Braves now, right? Or will he?
He will get.
Oh, he will.
Yeah.
Okay.
They get him on Wednesday in the last game against the Braves.
I thought they might try to buy him a day at some point.
Possible, except with the doubleheader
Yeah.
Tuesday, that'll be hard to do. Full shift on against Schwarber, who walked his first time up, and McGill behind him again, 3-1. And he comes inside and misses for ball 4. So Schwarber has been the only man to reach for the Phillies, and now he walks for the second time.
To me, it's almost as if he's being overly careful with Schwarber, and I know Bohm's behind him, and Bohm has been hitting well of late, or been hitting well all year, but he's been very careful with Schwarber.
Well, he's also run a lot of deep counts, even when he's gotten outs, and so for a game in which he's allowed so few base runners, he's thrown a lot of pitches. About to throw a 75th pitch to Bohm with 2 out of the 5th. Bohm fly to center his first time, and he takes a fastball up and away, and he's been missing glove side consistently this inning.
You know, I know he hasn't given up any hits, but he's not as sharp as he was in Arizona with his command of all of his pitches.
Definitely got the clicker like Mel Stottlemyre used to have.
No.
Back before anybody was doing pitch counts, Mel Stottlemyre had the little clicker in his hand, and he'd click it every time a pitcher threw a pitch, just so he knew.
If you're having a good game, though, you might miss a couple clicks, like to keep you in there. Davey would say, how many is that? Is he over 100 yet? No, Skip, 88.
One and one to Bohm. And he tries to dot that outside corner, but misses again. It's 2-1. I mean, you had to have a pitch count back in the day. What was the limit that they put on?
Like 125 was the number, yeah.
I mean, Seaver used to say his limit was 135.
Yeah.
And for some guys, it's 75. There goes Schwarber. The pitch is low. McCann's throw is not in time. Schwarber hopped off the base momentarily, but McNeil couldn't keep the tag on him, and Schwarber sneaks a stolen base, his first of the year.
Boy, he got a great jump. That was how you sneak a stolen base. Now, he doesn't have great speed, but if you get that kind of lead and jump, there's no way they can throw you out. Feet first slide, came off the bag a little bit right there.
13th stolen base of his career. He had 1 last year. So the Phillies have a runner in scoring position for the first time. 2-2 the count on Bohm. And he takes strike 3 call that time. McGill was able to hit the outside corner that had been eluding him throughout the inning. He gets Bohm looking, and that's his 4th strikeout, 2 down.
Well, Ryan Willis has had a good strike zone all game long, and I think that he was arguing how high the ball was, or he thought it was low, because that ball caught a lot of the corner. I don't know. That's a
perfect pitch.
That's a perfect pitch. You work your whole time in the bullpen to throw 5 of those in a row, just like that.
So 2 out. Schwarber at second. Here's Gregorius. Gregorius was sawed off and hit a soft liner to McNeil his first time up. And indeed, he has to move his feet on a changeup that rode inside. It's 2-0. Lindor staying close to Schwarber at second.
Lindor will stay close to Schwarber until it comes close to the set, and then he'll back up real quickly right here and try to get in position. He might give a couple of more fakes to keep Schwarber closer to the bag, but really defensive positioning is key over holding Schwarber close.
Just making sure he knows where he is. Another changeup that goes inside. And so McGill behind 3-0. Odubel Herrera hitting ninth in the order behind Gregorius. McGill has walked 2, struck out 4. But that pitch count continues to mount. This will be pitch number 83. Still in the 5th inning.
Again, another 3-0 swing time.
That one's on the corner. Perfect fastball for a strike. 3-1. Gill holding that glove to his ear, trying to hear the pitch comm signal that McCann is pushing the button on. And ran that one on the hands of Didi, and he fouled it off. 3-2.
He's just living in his kitchen. So we saw McCann earlier in the game just giving regular digital signs, but with a guy on second, they go to the pitch comm, and how does he enact it? It's in his chest protector.
Pushing buttons blindly, but I like that because that way he can see shakes, right?
Yes.
Whereas the guys who have it on their wrist, they have to push, look up, see the shake. McCann can push and look at the same time. 3-2 coming to Didi. Up and away, ball 4, and so the Phillies have 2 men on. Second walk of the inning, third of the night for McGill. And he'll face Odubel Herrera with 2 on, but not before Jeremy Hefner pays him a visit. So with McGill at 85 pitches for the night, he threw 92 in his last start in 6 2/3 in Arizona, but running up that pitch count quicker tonight because he's had a lot of long at bats.
Yeah, they just want to give him a blow right now. Does Hefner, because he's thrown a lot of pitches with runners on base, despite not giving up a hit. So just wants to give him a blow. Talk about Herrera, important at bat. I was just thinking before that pitch to Didi, of all the outfielders, Canna's got a very accurate arm. Nimmo doesn't have a very strong arm, but Marte, Buck Showalter, raves about his arm. Says we have not seen him throw the way he can throw. So he would be the wild card if a base hit was to Starling.
It's one of the reasons why they moved Marte to right field. It's because they felt as though his arm would play there better than any of the Mets outfielders, even though Marte had never played there before. So here's Herrera, who struck out his first time up. It's only his 5th start since coming back from the injured list, and he gets the opportunity here with 2 out and 2 on. You see what McGill's done with runners in scoring position this year. And Herrera takes fastball for a strike. 3 walks for McGill tonight. That equals his total from his first 4 starts combined. He walked 3 batters in 23 innings coming in. Schwarber at second, Gregorius at first with 2 out. Drew Smith will be the first man up in the Mets bullpen, with McGill working toward 90 pitches in the 5th inning.
He's the early high leverage guy.
Another upstairs fastball from McGill, and he gets ahead on Herrera 0-2.
Got to stay away from anything down to Herrera. Can't handle the ball upstairs with any velocity. One thing good about that pitch comm is that you get the call of the pitch so early.
Yeah, but then everybody has to remember. Oh-2 coming to Herrera. Struck him out. McGill goes upstairs to fan Odubel Herrera. He fans 3 in the inning. 5 strikeouts for McGill. No hits through 5. Halfway through, no score. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning in an airtight pitcher's duel between Todd McGill and Aaron Nola. Nola's retired 10 in a row, struck out 7 through 4 innings. He'll get Eduardo Escobar to lead off the home 5th.
Well, Nola has been as good as you'd ever want to see him so far. His last 3 starts here, he's got 27 punch outs. He's got Pete a couple of times. This is his 11th start at Citi Field. He has 11 against the Mets in Philadelphia. They've seen plenty of him. They haven't seen him much better than he is tonight.
And he just missed with a fastball to Escobar. Is that a two-seamer?
Two-seamer that comes starts right at Escobar, comes back over the plate, called for high by the umpire Willis.
Robinson Cano on deck, then Marcana for the Mets in the 5th. Gregorius alone on the left side and playing at the edge of the grass against Escobar.
It's the first time that Nola and Real Muto did not agree.
Escobar hits one past the mound, that off the glove of Segura into center field. Escobar takes a hard turn as Herrera runs it down, and the Mets have their 3rd hit of the night.
So Nola shakes off Real Muto, goes with the changeup, and Escobar finds a hole. If you're pitching, you got to make that play yourself. Good try by Segura. He was thinking about it. We've seen him. He is a hustler.
Well, he knows too that Herrera is an indifferent fielder at times, and sometimes, you know, might not go hard after that ball, but he did.
Yes, he did.
Escobar saw that and slammed on the brakes. Here's Cano with a runner at first and nobody out, and he takes a fastball away for ball 1. Cano struck out his first time up. And the Phillies have the shift on against him with that shortstop hole open, same as they played for Escobar. And the curveball bends in for a strike to Cano, 1-1.
So it's been a pretty simple plan against Cano so far from the National League pitchers, and that is they're throwing him hard stuff up and in, soft stuff away. Get ahead of him, they're throwing soft stuff not for strikes.
And he throws that curveball down and in, and it's 1-2.
Well, this hard knuckle curve is the same one he's throwing Pete all night, and this bends under the bat of Cano.
Nola hasn't walked a batter. He struck out 7, 5 walks, 32 strikeouts for the year. Escobar at first with nobody out. Didi's moved over to shortstop, so the entire 70 feet between Gregorius and the line is open. And Cano has been hitting it that way. And he just got a piece of that high fastball to stay on the at bat.
You know, he's been asked so often the first 3 weeks of the season about hitting and not getting off to a quick start, and Cano's had the same answer. He said, listen, I've been a hitter my entire career, and I'm going to hit. It just seems like he's on a clock.
Yep. Nobody knows the expiration date for him or for anybody else.
Yeah, that's the truth.
And the curveball, foul tip for strike 3. 8 strikeouts now for Nola, and Cano hearing it. So that's the first out of the inning. Escobar still at first.
Late break. If you watch the curveball of Nola, it kind of sits there for a second, and then the rotation starts and it just dips at the last second. Very unique breaking ball, unique shape from Nola.
It's like it grabs the air 10 feet from home plate, right?
Yep.
And Charlie Morton has more strikeouts on curves over the last 3+ years. Now Canna, who grounded out to third his first time up.
You get an advantageous count, or if you want to be really gutsy, do you have a rare hit and run? We've seen the Mets do it one time this year in a close game.
Tough to do, though, with a pitcher getting so many swings and misses.
That's the truth.
Mets haven't had a runner past first base tonight against Nola. Canada takes changeup upstairs. City probables tomorrow night. Taijuan Walker makes just his second start of the year. His first one came against the Phillies, lasted just 2 innings, but he's worked his way back from bursitis in his shoulder. He'll go up against Kyle Gibson Sunday night. Max Scherzer and Zach Eflin. Good to have Taijuan back on the mound. We'll see how far he can go after going 4 innings in a simulated game Monday in St. Louis. And Canada takes one on the corner for a strike, and it's 1-1. How deep Walker can pitch. The doubleheader coming up on Tuesday. All those things will factor in when the Mets make their roster decisions on Monday.
And they might be factoring in on how far Tyler McGill goes tonight.
One and one to Canna. Swing and a miss. Of course, in the doubleheader, you get an extra player that you can add no matter what the roster size is, and that figures to be David Peterson. But Peterson got roughed up in AAA last night. What did he give up? 9 runs?
9 runs, yeah, in a little over 4 innings.
He pitched great while he was here, and you know, sometimes that can be as psychological as much as anything.
Especially when you had an excellent game and you know you belong there.
Escobar at first and 1 out. 1 and 2 to Canna with McNeil on deck. And Canna hits one hard. Fair ball. It'll go off the tarp and Karam to Schwarber. Escobar racing for third. The throw goes to second. Canna slides in safely. Big base hit from Mark Canna. Hit it right over the bag for a double, and the Mets have second and third and 1 out.
Well, I believe the first hitter to solve the breaking ball is Mark Canna. He raises his arms in exultation. Was that his first extra base hit?
It was.
Well, that's what it was then.
16 straight singles to start the year for Canna, and now his first double.
First guy to solve the breaking ball. It stayed in and down. He was able to shoot it down the left field line and keep it fair. Nice hustle by Kyle Schwarber to get it in. They even have a play at second base. And watch the lead runner. Good running by Escobar. All he's thinking, if this gets by Schwarber, he can score. First to third easy, but it was up to Canna to turn it into a double. His first extra base hit.
So second and third and 1 out. Jeff McNeil coming to bat.
Ripped down that line with a little top spin.
The Phillies are going to play their middle infielders back and concede the first run of the game. No score in the bottom of the 5th. McNeil lined out to short his first time up. Escobar at third, Canna at second with 1 out. And McNeil pops one foul. Might be playable for Bohm right over near the railing. Nope. Lands on the dugout roof. So McNeil gets a life. Jeff's been really good getting a runner in from third and less than 2 out. In fact, he's 3 for 3 this year. Trying to plate the first run in this game. Meanwhile, the Mets bullpen has stayed busy. Don't know if McGill is done.
Long period of time here, right? Sitting on the bench.
88 pitches from McGill. He looks like he might be done. We'll see. Meanwhile, the Mets try and get him a run. 0-1 to McNeil. And Jeff jumps back, takes the sinker inside. 1-1. James McCann batting ninth in the order. He's on deck. And it certainly looks as though McGill's being debriefed, like it's the end of his outing. 5 hitless innings. but a lot of pitches on a chilly night. And Real Muto needs a conversation with Nola in the most important situation of the game so far.
Yeah, the dash by Escobar, the step off from Nola. Now, in these situations for a pitcher, he's in a situation only two things can happen for him that he needs. Either he needs a strikeout or he needs a pop-up. You can't get a strikeout until you get to 2 strikes. Both of those pitches inside almost got the pop-up on the first pitch. But that's really the pitch he's going to go with. Fastball in and hard, and the breaking ball if he gets ahead.
Normally you'd say with Escobar at third, stay alert for the curveball in the dirt, but Nola almost never bounces his curveball.
He doesn't, yeah.
Hasn't had a wild pitch this year. He's had very few over the course of his career. 1-1 to McNeil. And Jeff takes the curveball down. 2-1.
Boy, this is a great guessing game between the hitter and the pitcher. Is he going to come right after me with that fastball, or is he going to try to get back in the count with a curve for a strike?
2-1 coming. Now McNeil lines it into left center field for a base hit. Escobar is in. Here comes Canna. Canna will score. It's a 2-run base hit for Jeff McNeil, and the Mets take the lead. It's 2-0 in the 5th.
Well, every day he comes to look more and more like the McNeil we expected. Just a flat-out hitter, great contact hitter. And that pitch, which was supposed to be in, drifted over the middle of the plate, and it cost Nola and the Phillies.
Just the willingness to go with that pitch where it's pitched. Didn't see that much last year from McNeil, but he is, as you said, back to being the real Jeff McNeil. He's now hit in 6 straight games, and he's given the Mets the first lead of the night. And now McCann, who struck out his first time up.
Just so quick to the ball, short stroke, really looking like he was going that way the entire time. And Lindor.
Mets had just 2 hits over the first 4, but 3 hits in a span of 4 batters here in the 5th. And McCann takes a fastball high. Jeff McNeil now with 8 hits in his last 17 at bats. We saw so many stretches like that. 2018, 2019.
6-game hit streak, right? That's what you see from him as well.
A lot more of those smiles. Less equipment thrown. McCann pops one up behind first base. Who's going to get it? Segura calling. And Castellanos was coming like a bull. And I don't think he heard Segura call and just ducked away at the last moment. Otherwise, Segura might have gotten crushed. That's the second out.
Well, you see Rhys Hoskins, I'm not getting it. Castellanos came in, was very aggressive, and boy, Segura had it the whole time.
Segura said to Castellanos, didn't he hear me?
Yeah.
I guess the answer was no. Crowd gets loud here. So 2 out. McNeil still at first, and now Nimmo up for the 3rd time. Brandon singled to center in the 1st, took a call 3rd strike in the 3rd. McNeil has 1 stolen base this year. And look at that difference. He has been cashing in his opportunities. And again, you can say that about this entire team. Such a difference hitting with runners in scoring position.
I do have to say as well, early in the season when things weren't going perfectly for him, there was a lot less of the throwing of the helmet, of the expletive deleted. He really, there was a maturity there that was palpable.
I think there has been a lot of positive influence on Jeff as far as picking his spots for those displays of emotion, coming from his teammates and from the staff as well. 0-2 to Nimmo.
If Max was a player every day, he'd throw his helmet occasionally.
I don't know if you could be that intense playing every day. Although, you know, in his off-field moments, he's pretty intense too. Sometimes he stalks around his locker.
I love that he takes his bullpen with the full uniform.
Oh, 2 to Nimmo. Marte would be next. McNeil at first and 2 out. And Nimmo flicks one to left field, and that's going to be caught by a diving Schwarber. Ball stayed up long enough for Schwarber to make the diving grab and end the inning. But Jeff McNeil's 2-run base hit puts the Mets on top. Nice play by Schwarber to get Nola through the inning. 2-0 New York.
Black Maple Wood Chrome and Wood Extremum Bat Collection has been released and is available at BigTimeBats.com. One edition of the bats in the collection has already sold out, so don't wait too long to purchase your collectible.
Those bats come signed by Edward Jones.
Stream
the Mets with the new SNY app. Watch live Mets games, pre- and post-game shows, and all SNY programming anytime, anywhere, on any device with an in-market TV provider subscription. The SNY app. Scan the code and download now. Tyler McGill, 5 hitless innings, but he is out, and Drew Smith is in to start the 6th inning.
Drew Smith has not given a run so far this year. His Nissan numbers. In fact, if you look back to last year, Gary, his last 49 and a third innings, he's only allowed 11 earned runs.
When he's been healthy,
yeah,
he's been that kind of pitcher, working his way deeper and deeper into Buck Showalter's circle of trust. Segura has come the closest to a hit for the Phillies tonight at a sinking line drive to center field, and Nimmo made a terrific diving play over in right center. McGill 88 pitches in 5 innings, leading to his removal. Walked 3, struck out 5. Another tremendous outing for McGill. As Smith gets the slider in for a strike. 2-2. McGill in 2 outings against the Phillies this year. 10 1/3 scoreless innings, only 3 hits allowed. And Tyler's ERA for the season is now at 1.93 through his first 5 starts. Segura lays off. And it's 3-2. Hoskins and Harper to follow for the Phillies in the 6th. And reaches for that slider and fouls it off. Drew pitched a scoreless inning on Tuesday against the Cardinals. Gave up a hit to Paul DeYoung, but that's all. Of course, the Mets have a fully rested bullpen tonight with the off day yesterday. Again, the 3-2, and Segura fouls back the fastball. Well, McGill kept everything away from Segura, and Smith doing the same.
Seen one pitch inside to a right-handed hitter from McGill, and that was to Rhys Hoskins on a 2-1 pitch.
Eighth pitch of the at-bat to Segura, and he fouls back that slider. Drew Smith's much more confident in that slider than in the cutter that it used to be, particularly against the right-hand batters. He was effective getting in on lefties, but didn't have enough vertical break to be effective against the righties. And now he's leaning on that much more. And he struck him out. Went right back to the slider to get Segura. 9-pitch at bat, and Smith wins that one away. Tyler McGill, 5 hitless innings tonight.
Well, in watching him, he didn't have his best location. His stuff was there. 97 with some of the fastballs. His sliders were about 50-50 in the zone or not in the zone. But what you have to do when you're pitching in a tight game against a real good pitcher in Nola, you got to make your pitches when the game is on the line. He had 2 or 3 different opportunities to wilt, and he did not. You know, when I think about the positive things so many positive things that have happened for the Mets so far this year, Gary, he's got to be at the top of the list because he set the tone. You know, coming out of spring training, everyone was worried about the loss of Jacob deGrom. How would you fill that time? He was asked. He said it'll be another game, another chance, and I'll treat it like any other start. And when he said it, boy, I said that's some amazing confidence. But he's lived up to that mantra of what he said. Another game, another start, I will treat it that way.
It's really his personality. Buck Showalter says Tyler McGill has a low heartbeat. It serves him well in terms of stepping into that exalted role of being the opening day starter, being the guy to replace Jacob deGrom as though anybody could. And he's handled it as well as any young pitcher possibly could have.
I'm on my 3rd coffee. I got a little higher heartbeat right now.
2-1 to Hoskins, who's grounded out and flied out tonight. And a half swing, and he went around on the high fastball, and it's 2-2. Bryce Harper waiting on deck. Two to Hoskins, and he fouled back that high fastball. That's a hard pitch to reach, even to foul it back.
Hoskins has done something interesting in this game. When he's been fooled by a pitch, he sat on that pitch the next time. Remember, he pulled that ball foul inside against McGill after the 2-1 strike. And the same there, fooled by a high fastball, and he sat on that pitch and fouled it straight back.
Fastball right in the middle of the plate, and he fouled it off. Well, McGill had more than his share of long, drawn-out at bats. That's why he was out after 5. Smith getting some of the same, and this is upstairs with the slider, and it's 3-2. So a 9-pitch at bat with Segura. He's already thrown 7 pitches in this at bat to Hoskins. And got Harper sitting on deck. What's interesting, though, about these at bats is that the Phillies are a team that chases more than most, and they've been fairly patient so far tonight. They've got the 3rd highest chase rate of any team in the majors through the first 3 weeks. 8th pitch to Hoskins, and the slider in there, strike 3 call. Back-to-back strikeouts for Drew Smith to start the 6th inning.
Well, that's 2 sharp sliders from Drew. One swung through and one taken late movement right on the corner. No argument from Hoskins. 4-seam right on the side of that baseball. Outstanding slider.
Perfectly framed by McCann, rung up by the rookie home plate umpire Ryan Wills. Wills has had a good game.
He's had a real good game.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Bryce Harper has been up twice and flied out both times. Attacked the first pitch each time. And this time holds back and takes a high fastball, 1-0. Bryce with 16 extra base hits. That's 2nd in the National League. Always a danger even with the bases empty.
Looked like his first changeup that we've seen quite some time from Smith.
Buck was raving about that changeup today from Drew. Said it's really been a difference maker for him, particularly against the left-hand hitters. And he goes right back to it to get a swinging strike. That's nice to see, right?
Yes.
Development of a pitcher that he misses with the changeup against a great hitter, and then he goes right back to it.
Also, your catcher is confident in that pitch to go right back to it and call it.
Two one coming, and he swings through the fastball, and it's 2-2.
Change up twice in a row, sets a certain speed, and then the fastball, even the great Harper was late.
Two from Smith, and Harper fouls back a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. Three batters, 22 pitches already for Smith in this inning. McGill had an inning like that in the second. 4 batters, 26 pitches.
I really feel like this is going to be 4 pitchers for 4 innings to close this out.
Again, the 2-2. Up and away, full count to Harper. So 3 straight full counts for Drew Smith. Nick Castellanos would be next. Outfield deep and a step toward left against Harper.
Ooh, lots of shakes. Usually when you see that many shakes from a pitcher, it's a veteran catcher trying to confuse the hitter. We'll shake, 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 and we're going to go right back to the fastball. Just the opposite. Change of pace.
3-2. And he missed with it, ball 4. So after 2 strikeouts, a 3-2 changeup walks Harper. He's aboard with 2 out. We'll check in with the studio. Chris Williamson has a game break brought to you by your local Honda dealers. Chris. All right, Chris. Jorge Soler also had a home run in that game. Something like 460 feet.
468 feet on 118 mile an hour.
Marlins are going for their 6th straight win. They're sitting in second place behind the Mets. Here's Castellanos, who struck out and grounded out 0 for 2. Harper at first with 2 out, and Castellanos chases an upstairs fastball, 0-1. Nobody up behind Smith in the Mets bullpen. There's been a lot of pitches thrown in this inning already. And Castellanos fouls off the slider, and now it's 0-2. Oh, 2 to Castellanos. Foul back. Now, last year, Nick Castellanos put together a huge season. Earned himself a big contract. Just 30 years old. Joely Rodriguez gets up. Again, the 0-2. Struck him out. High heat from Drew Smith, and he fans 3 in the top of the 6th. Phillies still without a hit. Mets lead 2-0.
Gary, we have something coming in for your birthday, my friend. Oh, look at the T-shirt.
Some face on that T-shirt. What do you think?
It's out of here. Throwing down the pen, the whole thing.
Look at those cupcakes.
Look at these cupcakes. These are magnificent.
Those are some outstanding looking cupcakes.
Nice.
Wow, how do you decide?
I think you take 2 at some point. That's how you decide. These are all going home with you anyway.
Well, you know, I was going to ask, will you still need me? Will you still feed me? And apparently you are feeding me.
Is that where you are?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm in the McCartney range.
Boy. That's the only thing I have over you two is that you're a little older, both of you. Thank God.
Well, thanks for the cupcakes. Thanks to my lovely wife, Lynn, who obviously arranged all of it because that's just the kind of girl she is. And Russ, thank you for being the waitron. Because oh, and special napkins, either like sparkly.
Oh my goodness!
Celebratory napkins.
Homemade.
Hit toward the middle by Marte. Diving stop by Gregorius to his feet, but he can't get it. And Marte has an infield hit to start the bottom of the 6th.
Does Starling know that we're trying to get a cupcake? He's hit 3 ground balls now. This one finds a place to the left of Gregorius. He could not get that throw in the air. That's the only way he had a chance at Marte. The one bounce with that kind of speed does not work. And again, I just love watching this young man run. Short, choppy, steps, chest never moves. Makes it look easy.
So Marte proves to be no cupcake. He's got the Mets 6th in. Here's Lindor, who's 1 for 2. Pop fly single back in the 1st. What'd you get? Oh, you got a pretty one.
No, it looks like it has butterscotch
and has
or
like
caramel.
Walnuts on it. Chocolate with walnuts and caramel. Did you give one to Dougie? Make sure the radio guys get some. Howie always likes cupcakes. 3 infielders on the right side against Lindor. Gregorius coming creeping in at third base. I mean, that leaves that left side even more vulnerable with Didi coming in as close as he just did. See if he does again.
I mean, 2 runs up. Swing the bat.
And the changeup misses down from Nola. Lindor taking a long look down at Joey Cora. We've got Marte at first, 4 stolen bases this year, tied for 2nd in the league after leading the major leagues in steals last year. Alonso next.
Yeah, Nola's got a nice move.
Hasn't given up a stolen base so far this season.
He does everything you're supposed to do as a professional pitcher. He's got a good move. He varies his deliveries to the plate. He'll hold the ball for a long period of time.
And he's got Real Muto behind the plate.
Yeah, he's a pro's pro.
That helps too. Not a huge lead for Marte. He's running though. The throw by Real Muto is a good one, and Marte runs right into the tag. Real Muto with a perfect throw. Marte did not get a great jump, and he is thrown out for the 3rd time this year. Buck Showalter says, "Wait, we might challenge." I don't think Marte feels as though they should challenge.
You're right, Gary, but not the great jump. And you know, when you don't get a great jump, doesn't matter how fast you are. If the catcher makes a perfect throw.
Now, did he get his hand on the bag before the tag on the arm? The Mets are going to challenge. Not a great tag by Segura. Instead of holding it at the bag, he reached for Marte, and Marte might have gotten the hand in.
What you like to do here is lay down your knee because you know he's coming in flying head first. Now, he did beat him, all right? But the tag stays on him this entire time, and he does disengage from the bag at some point. So the right hand beats him here. He gets into the body. Now watch him disengage, but he doesn't have the tag on at that point.
I think he might be
He's
safe.
got to be safe.
Wow. I mean, didn't have a great jump. Real Muto made a perfect throw. And, you know, without replay in years prior, he would be called out 100 times out of 100 and nobody would blink because the throw beat him by so much. But with the benefit of replay, this now becomes a play that could go in the Mets' favor.
If you know runners are inclined to slide head first, when the ball beats them that bad, you got to drop your left knee in front of the bag. and just make sure that he can't touch the bag at all. That's what you have to do.
Laz Diaz and Jim Reynolds are the crew chiefs in the replay center. They will adjudicate this one. As Real Muto jokes with the rookie home plate umpire Ryan Wills, and you can see the hand is on the bag before Segura tags him. At least it certainly appeared that way from here.
See, the tag should have been on the bag, not the body. You got to tag whatever's coming in there first. Once you reach, it's always up, not down. So once you reach up, it allows that hand to go underneath.
And looks like we might have a decision. Turning the microphone on. Crew chief Jerry Meals on your right.
But all of this is happening at 100 miles an hour, so it's not easy for the infielders. So right there he's good, but then he reached.
After review, the call on the field stands. The runner is out. New York loses its challenge.
Well, I think they missed that. So,
do you think that they felt as though the initial tag was made, or that
the initial
he was
tag
out later?
No, the initial tag was made. Yeah. Just the right hand is what I'm seeing.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that the initial tag is what they call. I think it could have been right there on the knee.
But his the oven mitt was still on the base even when they had the tag. Now oven mitt's on the base. He has the tag, right?
I mean,
yeah, maybe.
You know, it's unfortunate that that's what we're adjudicating. You know, the millimeters and the nanoseconds, but
that's where we're at.
That's what we've come to. Okay, so it's caught stealing for the first out. 2-1 count to Lindor. And he fouls curveball into the ground, and it's 2-2.
You know, when I initially saw it, I thought it was because when he disengaged from the bag, the tag was still on, and then we saw another shot of it, and right. I didn't think that way at all again. But again, we saw that shot, and it could have been. So it's an out call. If they see that, they stay with it.
And the curveball strikes out Lindor for the second time. That is 9 strikeouts now for Nola, and 2 out of the inning. Well, here's the freeze of him off the bag. I can't tell if the pant leg at the lower right is on the bag, but the foot is off and the hand is off and the tag is on. So I guess that's probably what they finally went by. So difficult.
Well, the umpire didn't call it from the disengagement.
No, he
call.
called it from the initial tag.
Yeah.
He called him out, which probably wasn't. But, you know, we've said it many times.
Alonso unloads one to deep left field. Back goes Schwarber. Back at the wall, and it's out of here! Pete Alonso goes deep. His 4th home run of the season. And the Mets now have a 3-0 lead. Pete had gone 40 at-bats between home runs. But he unloads against Nola, and the Mets have a 3-run lead.
You can get as many base hits as you want, but when you're a slugger, you want to hit the ball out of the ballpark. And Pete's been waiting for that. What did you say, 40 at-bats?
He had 11 straight singles with no extra base hits over those 40 at-bats, but this one, he gets over the Great Wall of Flushing.
Looked like a changeup from Nola. I could be wrong. Could have been a high fastball, just not a good fastball. And after being fooled by the curves all night, he gets something to hit.
Escobar takes a curveball for a strike. Well, that one was a long time in coming for Pete. That Mets home run means City will donate $2,000 to No Kid Hungry to help fight childhood hunger. Now more than ever, kids across America need our help. Escobar is 1 for 2 tonight, and he lays off a high fastball. 1-1. For Nola, the 5th home run he's allowed this year in just 28 innings. And in an era where home runs are down, that's a lot. Or era, a month.
Yeah, that was against the breeze.
Well, every home run in this ballpark is against the breeze, Ronnie.
Here's the side angle of that side view. And he wasn't sure. Got it up so high, and he's been disappointed before with the flight of the baseball staying in the ballpark. But this one makes it into the front row. I wouldn't want to be the high five after Pete goes deep.
And Nola's starting to be consistently up with his pitches, and the Phillies are going to get their bullpen going for the first time. With Nola up to 92 pitches, threw 89 in his 7 scoreless innings against Milwaukee his last time out. And that is his season high. So he has surpassed that. And Escobar fights one off, and it's 3-2. Nick Nelson, first man up in the Phillies bullpen. He was impressive when we saw him in Philadelphia.
Pitch for the Yankees, right?
Escobar got the Mets' 2-run 5th inning started with a base hit up the middle. Batting here with 2 out and nobody on after the Alonso home run. 5th full count for Nola. And he rolls one softly. Nola off the mound with the glove flip gets the out. That retires the side. But Pete Alonso's 4th home run of the year extends the Mets' lead. One big swing by Pete ends a 40 at bat home run drought. And the Mets lead 3-0 after 6. Aaron Nola upset with himself after giving up the Pete Alonso home run that has stretched the Mets lead to 3-0. Now the attention turns back to the Mets pitching staff, which hasn't allowed a hit over the first 6 innings. Tyler McGill went the first 5. Drew Smith, after a very lengthy 6th, back out there to start the 7th.
Talk about being stretched.
He threw 29 pitches to 4 batters in the 6th, a walk and 3 strikeouts. And he starts the inning against Real Muto. The Mets have the lefty Joely Rodriguez ready in the bullpen for Schwarber, who's on deck. Real Muto's 0 for 2, and he leans back from an inside fastball, 2-1.
You know, the only thing you can do when you're down 2-0 is hold the team there, so you give your team a chance to come back, and that extra swing by Pete is what Nola's mad at.
Good slider by Smith for a strike, 2-2. I would just like to say,
yes,
in tribute to my wife Lynn, those are the greatest cupcakes I have ever tasted in my entire life.
That was remarkable. You and I ate them in about 20 seconds.
I mean, I know that they have the booth cam that is trained on us, and it was not elegant the way I ate that cupcake, because there was the cake itself, and then there was like a chocolate coating on top with caramel inside and walnuts, and there was no way to eat it elegantly. So I just, you know, we had a minute and 45 seconds between innings to make sure that we ingested the cupcakes and cleaned up afterwards. So I did it as expeditiously as possible, but probably it wasn't pretty.
The only time I've seen someone eat a cupcake like that is my little guy, and he's 6.
That's about right. That's how I felt. I felt like I was 6. Better 6 than 64.
There you go.
You know that Paul McCartney was like a teenager when he wrote that song.
You know, the one thing when you watched the documentary this winter, and to watch that and realize that McCartney's 26 years old is the most remarkable thing about that doc.
So in charge. Swing and a miss. Another high slider gets a good result for Drew Smith as he gets Real Muto for his 4th strikeout. Let's check with the studio at the game break with Chris Williamson. Chris?
Inning Real Muto, and now Buck is countered with Joely Rodriguez to face Schwarber, Bohm, and if he has to go past that, the left-handed hitting De Gregorius.
Joely last pitched Sunday in Arizona, 1-2-3 inning with a couple of strikeouts. Met pitchers have gone 6 1/3 tonight without allowing a hit. Schwarber's been on base twice with a pair of walks against Tyler McGill. and he hits the first pitch in the air foul, 0-1. The 6 1/3 without a hit is the longest since Taijuan Walker went 6 1/3 against the Dodgers last August. The last time the Mets went more than 6 1/3 with a no-hit bid intact, you got to go back to 2016 when Steven Matz went 7 1/3 against the Padres. Mets have never had a combined no-hitter. They've only had one no-hitter in their history, and that was 10 years ago, June the 1st. Johan Santana. Yes, that's true. He stole a base. It's not a misprint. It's the only time the Phillies have gotten a runner in scoring position tonight. And Schwarber takes a fastball for a strike from Joely. 1-2.
The Phillies don't like that ball being called at the bottom of the strike zone by Wills. But he's been consistent. He's called it all night. Sometimes that has to do with the rookie umpire, you know.
Schwarber 0 for 2 in his career. His hitting coach Kevin Long looking on. 1-2. Checks his swing on the slider, and he held it in time.
I don't know how he checked this swing. It tells you how strong Kyle is. I mean, to hold that bat back takes incredible strength.
Alec Bohm, the on-deck batter. 2-2. Late swing foul. I mean, the number of long at-bats in this game has been stunning for the Phillies. At-bats of 6 pitches or more, seemingly every at-bat against McGill, against Smith, now against Rodriguez. Two coming, and Schwarber watches outside. 3-2.
Another 3-2 count. If the Mets are able to make this deep in the game without giving up the Phillies, without giving up a hit to the Phillies, they're going to best Santana's 137 mark.
It's the 7th full count for the Mets against the Phillies tonight. And Schwarber draws another walk. Fastball missed low. So Schwarber has now walked 3 times. Met pitchers have walked 5 in all. Was it A.J. Burnett who had a 9-walk no-hitter?
8 or 9, yeah, 8 or 9 walks.
Well, the Mets are a long way from that. Still have 8 more outs to get in this game, and it's only a 3-0 game, so it's all about the outcome right now. There's Alec Bohm, who's flied out and taken a call third strike. Schwarber has already stolen a base tonight. He's at first.
And Bowman's a double play ball right at Lindor from a knee to McNeil to first. Double play. Side retired. And the Met pitching staff rolls on. 7 hitless innings. Joely Rodriguez gets the double play. 3-0 New York. Congratulations to tonight's City Community Home Runs fan of the game, Diane Marie, who as of now has won a virtual meet and greet with Pete Alonso, Mets autograph, and Mets prize pack. Don't forget, receive 25 additional entries by donating $5 or more to No Kid Hungry. It might interest you to know, Ronnie, that Mama's delivered some Italian pastries to the booth as well, and I'm now knee-deep in a cannoli.
Very nice.
I think our producer Greg Picker arranged for the Mama's pastries, so we're inundated with sweets tonight.
So you took the cannoli.
Yeah. Left whatever. Nick Nelson out of the bullpen for the Phillies as we go to the home 7th. Robinson Cano struck out twice against Aaron Nola and takes a fastball down from Nelson. Nola threw 94 pitches, 3 runs, 7 hits over 6 innings, no walks, 9 strikeouts.
See the numbers for Nelson. He's had some good outings, acquired from the Yankees last year in November by the Phillies. Got a good hard fastball, cutter, curveball. So his 27th appearance in the major leagues between the Yankees and the Phillies. Had a couple starts for the Yankees.
Mets did just enough against Aaron Nola, who held them scoreless for the first 4. Two-run single by McNeil in the 5th. Home run by Alonso in the 6th. And now Cano fouls off a fastball, and it's 1-2.
You know, that's one of those times for the Mets offense. They faced a really sharp Aaron Nola, and to really just somehow find enough hits to get 3 runs on the board, it's quite an accomplishment. He had his best stuff tonight.
'26-year-old Nick Nelson in his first year with the Phillies, and he has made a good impression. Phillies bullpen has struggled overall. That's slashed over the bag. That's a fair ball for Cano, and that'll go down the line toward the corner. Cano trying for 2. The throw by Schwarber. It'll be close, and he is out at second base. Schwarber with an outstanding throw from fairly deep left field along the line, right on target to get Cano for the first out. So Cano, who had been struggling, gets himself an opposite field hit, but Schwarber denies him a double.
Well, first, a nice hitting by Robinson, trying to do a little extra because he hasn't been on base that much. And Schwarber with a perfect throw. In the last 2 games, the Mets have been thrown out on the bases by great outfield play.
You don't mind it as much when you're ahead.
Yes.
The game on Wednesday in St. Louis, when they were down by 4 runs and both Canna and Guillorme got thrown out on the bases, not so good. Here's Canna, and he swings through a fastball from Nelson. Just nice to see Cano hitting the ball hard, but as we noted earlier, another opposite field hit. Canna pulled one over the third base bag for a double that helped set the table in the 5th inning. Then he came around to score the second Met run. Went around on that half swing.
The changeup from Nelson, the hit from Cano, right down the line, off the hands really, and it sneaks down into the corner. Good hustle by Schwarber, plants, and in the air, and good tag. One bounce, sorry. Good tag by Segura. Maybe the tag that he missed on Marte, he made sure of that one.
You know, when people talk about Schwarber and his defense, they forget sometimes that he was a catcher. He's got a catcher's arm.
Well, catcher's arm, and he's also gotten a lot better than he was when he first went out there. He's worked hard at it.
I mean, he's never going to be the most mobile outfielder, but he can throw. One-two coming to Canna, and he goes down swinging on the changeup. So Nelson's got his first strikeout. 2 out in the inning. Inside tonight's game, McGill and Nola threw zeros early before the Mets finally broke through in the 5th. McGill did not allow a hit through 5. In fact, the Mets have not allowed a hit through 7. Trying to do something unusual tonight. I don't know. Does it have the same feeling as it would if it were a single pitcher working on a no-hitter?
No, of course not. But you know, Joely Rodriguez is excited about it after getting his 2 outs of the inning. I think it's a icing on the top of a nice win if you can hold the Phillies off.
It's an interesting feat, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
Got 2 left-hand hitters to start the 8th inning for the Phillies, so Joely will probably stay in. Another good changeup by Nelson. It's 1-1 to McNeil, who's got the biggest hit in this game for New York. Came up with 2nd and 3rd and 1 out in the 5th. Took a pitch the other way into left center field for a 2-run single that gave the Mets the lead.
Buck always working.
Off the pitcher's glove, deflecting to Segura, who can't make a play, and McNeil's got another hit. Second hit of the night for McNeil, who just keeps on racking them up.
Well, this ball off the glove, and tonight for the Phillies, it seems like they're always in the wrong position. And you know, we've spent many games talking about how the shift of the players, or the infielders anyway, have been always in the right spot. Hasn't been that way for the Phillies tonight.
But I think what we've learned over these first 3 weeks of the season is that you can change how a team shifts you. And we've seen it with Nimmo and with McNeil in this early season, that they've gone from playing the shift against them to not, because they've both used the whole field.
Yeah. I mean, where that ball was hit would be where the shortstop would be.
Seth Lugo getting ready to pitch next for the Mets, and whether he starts the 8th or not, we'll see, with Gregorius and Herrera, the 2 left-hand batters, due up to begin the inning. Joely Rodriguez got the final 2 outs in the 7th. McCann has struck out and popped up tonight, 0 for 2. McCann talked after he had his big game in St. Louis the other day about how he's changed his hand position when he gets ready for the pitch. And we went back and we looked at some video and we found a rather distinct difference in the way that he's holding his hands. We'll show it if we have a chance.
What did he say to you, Gary, about his hand position?
He said, well, he didn't say it to me. He said it to the writers that he was holding his hands higher. And look at the difference between just 10 days ago and what he's doing now.
He's almost got his bat like Rhys Hoskins holds his bat on the right side. Eventually gets in at about the same position, but still.
Hands are a little bit higher.
Yeah, they're definitely higher.
So he feels more comfortable this way. And had good results in Arizona when he hit the long home run, and then a 3-hit game in St. Louis on Tuesday.
The one thing I see the difference between the left side and the right side, hands lower, hands higher. He's resting his bat now, which allows him to relieve the tension. When he was hitting before, he had that barrel and bat locked in a position that produces a lot of tension in your arms and makes your swing slow. This one resting, and at the last minute in position and fire.
Well, certainly the swings have been better.
Yeah.
And he's certainly been on the ball more frequently. We'll see whether it lasts. It's been a constant search for James since he joined the Mets last year to find that offensive consistency.
I think when you're a big guy and you're a catcher, you know, there's probably emphasis on the long ball because, you know, they expect you to hit it, where it's better to just be as good a hitter, best version of yourself as a hitter, and let the home runs come.
Well, when McCann has succeeded offensively over the course of his career, he's been a guy who hits the ball to right center.
I mean, one of the biggest hits he had on that road trip was a double over the head of Harrison Bader. So it doesn't all have to be out of the ballpark. He's a big, strong guy that when he squares it up, he's going to produce a lot of hits.
This will be the 7th pitch of the at bat from Nelson to McCann. He taps that one foul. Temperature's going down. The wind is still up. It's getting a shade more uncomfortable as the evening goes along.
Imagine what it's like on the players.
No sleeves. I don't know how they do it. And McCann goes down swinging. Another good changeup by Nelson for the 3rd out. 2 strikeouts for Nick Nelson. That sends us on to the 8th. That's with 6 outs to get. They haven't allowed a hit. Start of the homestand for the Mets. It's been memorable so far. First time wearing the black uniforms this year. Met pitchers have held the Phillies hitless through the first 7. 3-0 New York as we start the 8th. Didi Gregorius leads off against Joely Rodriguez. Met pitchers have walked 5, struck out 9. 132 pitches thrown by the Mets in the first 7 innings. I mean, think about the unlikelihood of a team throwing 132 pitches in 7 innings and not having given up a hit. A lot of deep counts for the Phillies all night long. Gregorius drew a walk in the 5th, and he hits one past the mound. Right there is Lindor to sweep it up. Playing in the shift, he throws out Didi. One away in the 8th.
So Rodriguez in this 8th inning to face the 2 left-handers unless someone bats for Herrera.
Yeah, we're going to get a pinch hitter here. It's going to be Johan Camargo, who's a switch hitter. So we'll see if they go to Lugo in this spot. So Camargo announced into the game, and Buck's got to decide. Do you leave him in to face Camargo and make him a right-hand batter? Or you bring Lugo in and turn him around. Seth is ready if needed.
Camargo against Lugo, 1 for 11 with 4 punch-outs.
And 1 for 1 against Joely Rodriguez.
I've always thought he's a better left-handed hitter, though, than he is a right-handed hitter.
And that's what Buck's going to go with, and leaves Joely in to face him. 1 out and nobody on, and Camargo takes a strike. Camargo, former Brave, got some playing time when the Mets were in Philadelphia that first week of the season. And that fastball just off the plate. A ball and a strike.
Umpire's been spot on. That's off the plate away. McCann tried to rip it over the plate. Not fooling Ryan Willis.
3 infielders on the left side against Camargo. Gene Segura on deck. And this time Joely runs one inside, 2-1. So this is probably Rodriguez's last batter, with 2 right-hand hitters, Segura and Hoskins, to follow, and Lugo ready in the bullpen.
Pardon me, Ryan Wills, of course, not Willis.
Camargo taps one foul on the changeup, and now it's 2-2. 32,416 the announced attendance tonight, and they are living with every pitch right now. There have been 16 combined no-hitters in Major League history, including the last one. It was last September with Corbin Burns and Josh Hader, Milwaukee combining. 2-2, just inside, full count. And those are the most recent combined no-hitters. The Burns Hader one, the last one. $16 of the 314 no-hitters in Major League history have been combination jobs. First one I remember was a Kent Merker one back in the early 90s, right? This is the 9th full count that the Phillies have run against Met pitchers tonight. They've walked 5 times. 3-2 to Camargo, and he bounces it for ball 4. And so that's 6 walks now, the second one given up by Joely Rodriguez, and that's the last pitch he's going to throw. Seth Lugo will come in to face Gene Segura. We'll be right back to Citi Field.
Nissan numbers with the ERA high. One of the reasons was had a tough outing in Philadelphia against the Phillies.
And Segura has been a huge thorn in Lugo's side. First pitch curveball misses. Segura is 7 for 14 lifetime against Seth Lugo. So a tough spot for Seth here, trying to keep this no-hit bid intact and keep the Mets in the lead. Camargo at first with 1 out. And Segura takes that curveball high, and Seth falls behind 2-0. Lugo's last outing was in Arizona on Sunday. He worked an inning and a third scoreless. Remember, though, he took a comebacker off his shin from Dalton Varsho, who's hit hard enough that it carried him all the way back to McCann, who got the out at first base. Popped it up, left side of the infield. Lindor retreating. 2 out. Last time the Phillies were no-hit was 8 years ago. Josh Beckett in 2014. 21 times in their history the Phillies have been no-hit. So I believe this is the first time that the Mets have gotten through 7 2/3 since Santana's no-hitter.
Yeah.
10 years ago. Here's Hoskins. Lugo's had his number. 2 for 18 against him. Hoskins is grounded out, flied out, and struck out. Lugo, the Mets' 4th pitcher of the night. And Hoskins moves back. Ball 1. Tyler McGill went the first 5. Drew Smith an inning and a third. Joely Rodriguez an inning. And now Lugo trying to finish off the 8th with Diaz looming in the 9th. And Hoskins popped it up in foul ground. Alonso's got room. Side retired. 8 hitless innings for the Mets pitching staff. 3 more outs to get. We go to the bottom of the 8th. 3-0 New York. Bet post-game live. Todd Zeal, Gary Apple. We'll have all the interviews, all the highlights, all the history. And those are the last 5 no-hitters by individual pitchers, all coming last year. 4 individuals have combined for 8 no-hit innings. Thank you. Jerry thanks you too. So does Michelle Pfeiffer, not pitcher.
Eve Plum.
Nice.
George Gervin.
George Gervin.
Kate Pearson.
Wow. You mean Kate Pearson from the B-52? Is that Kate Pearson?
Is there any other Kate
Well,
Pearson?
there's a character named Kate Pearson in This Is Us.
Well, I only tried to pick folks that you would like to share your birthday with.
So beehives.
Yes. Beehives and fabulous voices.
Yes. Well, Edwin Diaz was going to have a chance in the 9th inning to help the Mets make some history. It's been only 1 no-hitter in the first 60 years of Mets baseball. They're 3 outs away from a second. Nick Nelson working his 2nd inning of relief behind on Nimmo 3-0. Nimmo was robbed of a hit on a sliding play by Schwarber in the 5th. Nimmo's 1 for 3 tonight. And that's inside ball 4. And the Mets have a leadoff base runner in the bottom of the 8th. The trumpets are at the ready.
The trumpet carrier is very nervous.
Does he actually have to play the trumpet, or is he only pantomiming?
Pantomiming.
So what is there to get nervous about?
No, he doesn't want to jinx it.
Oh. He's afraid if he blows the trumpet, it might spoil the magic. Here's Marte, who had an infield hit in the 6th, then was caught stealing. Nimmo at first and nobody out. And the changeup misses from Nelson, 1-0. In the 9th, the Phillies will be due to send up 3, 4, and 5. A tough row. Harper, Castellanos, Real Muto. And Marte takes a fastball for a strike, 1-1. There have been 3 no-hitters in this ballpark. Santana in 2012, and then twice the Mets were no-hit in 2015. Chris Heston of the Giants, and then Scherzer the last weekend of the season. Marte fouls back a fastball, and it's 1-2. I mean, we sat here 10 years ago as nervous as you can possibly be, knowing that there was a possibility we could see something that we had waited for, those of us who had watched the Mets for all these years, for 50 years, and that we thought was never going to happen.
Well, you and I used to always have a shtick that if a pitcher had a no-hitter through 5 or something, I'd always turn to Gary and say, Gary, tonight's the night. And he would always say the same thing to me. Ronnie, I'm telling you, there will never be a no-hitter in Mets history. So just get that through your thick head. And that night I didn't ask you. You know, and that's pretty weird because we just felt it. You felt something special was going to happen. It was really the pitch count over the no-hitter.
Right. There were so many things going on that night between the fair ball that was called foul, with Baxter making the catch in left field. You know, Santana coming back from capsule surgery, and you figured there's no way he was going to be able to throw enough pitches to throw a no-hitter because he had a lot of walks early in the game, a high pitch count. So that was the focus. Double play ball for Gregorius. The bad throw, and they just get the out at second. Gregorius had that ball stick in his hand and somehow bounced that flip to Segura, and that cost him any shot at a double play.
Well, he got a ground ball, and then he threw a ground ball to Segura. And just think of this. Marte tonight has hit 4 balls to the shortstop. Well, the first one was to Bone, but 4 balls on the left side.
Anyway, let's just say that right now, as we anticipate the top of the 9th inning, we have a chance to see something that the Mets have only accomplished once in 60-plus seasons. And it would be a great thing if it happened, but it's a completely different thing than what we experienced 10 years ago.
It's a team thing.
Right.
You know, we were thinking about some of the best pitchers in the history of the game pitched here. Gooden, Seaver, of course. It never happened with. I mean, both those pitchers went someplace else and it happened. It's that part of the history for all those years that it never did happen.
We used to keep a list of all the pitchers that pitched for the Mets and then went and pitched no-hitters elsewhere.
It was also that if it was going to be done, I hoped, maybe I'm the only one, I wanted it to be done by royalty, you know, by a great pitcher, and Santana was all of that.
Yep. He definitely qualified in that regard. Lindor rips one into right field for a base hit. Marte to second. He's going to take a turn and hold on there. And the ball gets loose, but it's backed up by Bone. So Lindor with his second hit of the night.
Lindor is starting to heat up again. Gets a couple of hits here. This one, good pitch on the outside corner, but still able to pull it for a hit.
Game 2 of this series tomorrow night. Taijuan Walker makes his return to action against Kyle Gibson. Coverage begins at 6:30 tomorrow on SNY. Tonight after the post-game show, lots more on the NFL draft, recap of this game, and much more around baseball and the Rangers heading for the postseason. All on Geico Sports Night tonight after the post-game show. Here's Pete Alonso, who broke a home run drought with his 4th of the year in the 6th inning. He had gone 40 at bats without a home run. First and second and 1 out. And Pete takes a fastball outside for ball 1. Nobody up in the Phillies bullpen, so they're asking Nick Nelson to finish this 2nd inning of relief. Pete takes a fastball for a strike. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Mets and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Mets. Must be an awesome feeling when they chant your name like that. And Pete takes up and away 2-1.
Gary, maybe one more point about the difference of the Santana game. We've been together 17 years, and it was the first time that Keith and I, in between innings, while you and Dave Freed were going over all the history of the team and the organization and no-hitters and everything, Keith and I took our headsets off and said, you know what, unless we have something poignant to say, this is Gary's to fly.
Well, that didn't say much. That ball hits Marte, bounces away. Segura running after it. He's got to play it second, but it's dropped by Gregorius. Lindor telling Marte to try to score, but he had already slid into third. And Marte's a little shaken as he gets to third base. Remember that throw hit him initially before it bounced away. Segura was able to run it down, and they had Lindor dead to rights, but Gregorius dropped the throw. Marte says, I'm okay. But that ball hit him square.
I think it got him right between the shoulder blades. They had a play at second, yes. It got him right on the numbers. So it's the pitcher Nelson that didn't make the accurate throw. If that throw was there, it would have been very close to picking him off.
I mean, Lindor went in standing, but he would have been out with a good throw.
Yeah, right between the shoulder blades, like I thought.
So now the infield comes in. The error putting runners at second and third with one out.
So we know one thing Lindor will never be: a third base coach after trying to wave Marte home.
Well, if Marte hadn't slid and he wasn't shaken up, he might have been able to score, but he wasn't in position to do so. Still flexing his back after taking that ball off his shoulder blade. Pete fouls off a changeup, and it's 2-2. Pete's been great this year getting a runner in from third with less than 2 out. He's 6 of 7. Tyler McGill, who started this whole thing tonight. And Alonso takes him just out of the strike zone. Full count. Well, a walk would enable the Phillies to drop the infield back to double play depth with Escobar on deck. Alonso's got different ideas. Diaz just hanging around, trying to stay loose, getting ready for the ninth. 3-2. And that's strike 3 call. I'm looking at a fastball. He was ready to head to first base, but Ryan Wills called him out, and that's the second out. Third strikeout for Nelson. Well, 4 pitchers for the Mets tonight have thrown 146 pitches. And somehow, amongst the 146 pitches in 8 innings, not a single hit given up. 9 full counts, 6 walks, but no hits. And Diaz hoping to be the 5th pitcher in the group to close it out. Here's Escobar, who's 1 for 3. Singled and scored back in the 5th when the Mets took the lead. This is a scoreless game until the bottom of the 5th. Jeff McNeil's 2-run single gave the Mets the lead. Alonso hit a home run in the 6th, and that's been all the scoring tonight. And now Escobar looking for the 2-out hit that can tack on. And Diaz will face the heart of the batting order: Harper, Castellanos, and Real Muto. So nothing easy. Mets have specialized in scoring with 2 outs. Escobar looking to pick up a couple here. He got a good swing at that fastball and fouled it back. 1-2. Mets have scored 48 runs this year with 2 out. That's the most of any team in the majors. Fans are standing already ready for the 9th. And Escobar swings through the fastball. Strikeout for Nelson ends the bottom of the 8th. We're going to keep it right here as Edwin Diaz completes his warm-up tosses. The trumpets get set to blare, and the Mets will look to accomplish some history tonight. 8 innings, of no-hit ball thrown by 4 Met pitchers, starting with McGill, through Smith, to Rodriguez, and then Lugo. And now Edwin Diaz will bid for the save in a 3-0 game, looking to complete it.
So what does this mean for this team in the penultimate game in April? Every time you go into a year, you want to have that special year with special events that happen, special things that propel you to a championship. And this would represent another glimpse of great things happening in the month of April. That's what it would mean to me.
The closest thing to a hit tonight was this sinking liner by Gene Segura, and Brandon Nimmo made the play.
What do they say in every no-hitter? There's always one magical play given to you by the baseball gods. Well, that's the one so far.
Dominic Smith comes in to play first base. Travis Jankowski to play left field. Mets putting their best defense forward for this top of the 9th inning. And Edwin Diaz will bid for the save and to complete a no-hit bid.
And it should go through Harper.
Harper, Castellanos, and Real Muto coming up. Harper is 2 for 9. Both of the hits have been home runs against Edwin Diaz. If you are keeping a scorecard, and I know you must be, Travis Jankowski is batting in the 4th spot, and Dom Smith is hitting 7th.
In fact, that home run against Diaz was his last at bat.
I think this is a rookie umpire, Ryan Wills, making sure with Buck that the lineup is the way that it was announced on the board, and in the press box it said Jankowski hitting 4th and Smith hitting 7th, and that could or might not be right. And so they're going to make sure that they have it correct. But of course that leaves Diaz to stand around and wait to throw his first pitch.
It leaves Diaz out there, and we mention defensive changes all the time. Now gamesmanship, Girardi will come out and find out what's happening to stall the game a little more, but also to find out what's going on. We mention defensive changes all the time, flippantly, like off the edge, and just give them to you. This is no joke for guys like Jankowski and Smith that have been sitting on the bench all night, and now they're involved in a no-hitter.
Cold, windy night at Citi Field. Buck Showalter's Mets trying to do something that we've never seen the Mets do before, and that is have multiple pitchers combine on a no-hitter. So here we go. Harper's 0 for 2 and a walk tonight, 2 fly balls. And Diaz starts him off with a slider that misses away for ball 1. Edwin last pitched Tuesday in St. Louis, walked the leadoff hitter, retired the next 3 to secure a 3-0 win, trying to finish off another 3-0 game tonight.
Now Harper taking his time, getting back in the box.
And Harper rolls one foul, 1-1. That's 148 pitches for the Mets. Since 2000, there have not been more than 149 pitches thrown in a combined no-hitter. So this would be really unusual. Means the Phillies have had a lot of chances. And Harper fouls off the slider, and now it's 1-2. And this crowd is starting to work itself into a frenzy if they get it. Castellanos and Real Muto behind Harper. One-two from Diaz, and he fouls off that fastball, running it on his hands at 99 miles an hour. Harper has been playing through a sore elbow, hasn't played the outfield in nearly 2 weeks. Trying to hold his own against Edwin Diaz in the 9th. 1-2 coming. Struck him out. Nasty slider, foul tipped for the first out in the 9th.
2 fastballs, 2 sliders, 2 fastballs, and a slider to put Harper away.
2 more outs to get. Now it's Castellanos, who is 2 for 6 in his career against Diaz. 0 for 3 tonight, struck out twice. And he swings through a fastball, 0-1. Upstairs fastball, no chance. 0-2. Two fastballs from Diaz, and Castellanos overmatched on both. Now the 0-2. That was foul. Came with a slider after those 2 fastballs.
As it should be. You're going through Harper, Castellanos, and if you get through him, it's Real Muto.
0-2. And he bounces a slider. The ball and 2 strikes. Met pitchers have walked 6. They've struck out 10. McGill, Smith, Rodriguez, Lugo, Diaz. 1-2. Struck him out. Back-to-back strikeouts for Diaz. The Mets are 1 out away.
When he needed a perfect slider, he threw one. Unhittable.
So it's left to JT Realmuto with 2 out and nobody on. Realmuto, like the 2 guys before him, have great numbers against Diaz. 4 for 9, including a home run. Diaz looking sharp so far. Realmuto's 0 for 3 tonight. And he swings at the first slider and fouls it off. 0-1.
Diaz likes his slider tonight.
A lot of the Mets fielders putting their bare hand in their pocket as they prepare, trying to stay warm. 0-1 to Realmuto. Swing and a miss on a slider. And now the Phillies are down to their final strike. Combined for the second no-hitter in New York Mets history. Edwin Diaz puts on the finishing touches, striking out the side of the 9th inning, and the Mets celebrate their second ever no-hitter, started by Tyler McGill, finished by Edwin Diaz, as the Mets no-hit the Phillies. Edwin Diaz getting the save. Tyler McGill went 5. Drew Smith an inning and a third. Joely Rodriguez an inning. Seth Lugo 2/3. And then Diaz with a flourish strikes out the side of the 9th. Met pitchers threw a remarkable 159 pitches to complete a no-hitter.
I left something out before when I said in a special year, you're looking for special things to happen. Glimpses of greatness, even if they happen in April. But this became a great night for the fan base that has been energized by this team, by the owner, and by some of the greatness you've seen from some of these players here in April.
The 17th combined no-hitter in Major League history, the first for the New York Mets. Diaz never been sharper than what he showed in the 9th inning. After Tylor Megill started it, some reactions from around the field. No-hitters are special, and tonight's no different. A team effort. Brandon Nimmo made the biggest play of the game defensively, robbing Gene Segura of a hit with a diving catch in the 3rd. A lot of deep counts, a lot of walks. 13 strikeouts for Met pitchers tonight as they combine on a no-hitter. Let's go down to Steve Gelb. Steve.
Thanks, Gary. Edwin, you just finished off the 2nd no-hitter in the 60-year history of this franchise. Listen to this crowd. What's this moment like for you?
You know, it's amazing. You know, I knew by the 7th inning we got a no-hitter. I didn't say anything in the bullpen. I just prepared my mind to come in the 9th to save the game. You know, I made sure to make my pitches tonight because it was a special moment for the team.
As a closer, you've had your fair share of pressure situations. Just how much was this pressure ramped up, knowing that you needed 3 outs to accomplish this feat?
You know, it was a little bit of pressure, but you know, I gotta control my emotion on the mound, so that's what I did. I just control my emotions and start making pitches. You know, I faced 2, 3, 4, 5, and one of the best 3 hitters in the league. I just made my pitch, and we got the good result.
How'd that slider feel tonight?
Was really nasty tonight. So you know, I worked a lot in the bullpen because I knew that those guys come chase my fastball. So I made sure to throw my slider nasty tonight.
Edwin, this Phillies team had been hot. 32 runs in their last series in 4 games. As a group, what did you guys do so well as a pitching staff to shut them down tonight?
I think our pitching coaches do a great job in the meetings to how to attack those hitters. I think the credit for them because, you know, they study a lot those hitters, and we just pay attention in the meeting and execute our pitcher here.
Finally, Edwin, it's been a special start to the season for this group. Where does this accomplishment rank up?
You know, everything. The manager, coaching staff, player, you know, everybody's is on the team. You know, we just got to have fun and play games, and that's what we're doing right now.
Edwin, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, guys, back to you.
Special night capped off by a brilliant performance by Edwin Diaz as the Mets pick up the 2nd no-hitter in their franchise history. James McCann catching the last pitch. 2nd no-hitter he's caught. He caught Lucas Giolito's no-hitter in 2020. And for Buck Showalter, the 2nd no-hitter of his managerial tenure. He was the manager when Jim Abbott threw his no-hitter for the Yankees in 1993. Jeff McNeil drove in the first 2 runs. Pete Alonso hit a home run, but it was the pitchers who were front and center tonight. Tylor Megill now 4-0 through his first 5 starts, 5 hitless innings, and then Smith and Rodriguez and Lugo and ultimately Diaz getting the job done and getting doused as well. Cold.
159 pitches.
Unbelievable. I didn't think that it was possible to throw a 9-inning no-hitter with 159 pitches.
I know what you're saying. The math of it alone. How do you keep a team hitless with 159? McGill was outstanding despite the 3 walks. The difference maker might have been Drew Smith, who got 4 outs in the game, all 4 strikeouts. There were so many heroes in this game, but what's interesting is that when you saw the players get on the field, that felt every bit like a no-hitter, right? And I think, I can't reiterate, there's just so much feelings for this team and the possibilities and the future and what's going to happen the next 5 months is as they close out April, tomorrow's the last day in the month, to have that foundation of special feelings and events and glimpses of greatness as they work towards what they want, and that doesn't come until September and October.
Well, they've had a lot of bonding experiences in the early season, right? I mean, you know, all the hit batsmen and all the hard feelings, but also the good luck of not getting anybody seriously hurt. But I think those things have brought the team together. But, you know, this is a different kind of an event and more for the pitchers than it is for the rest of the team. But these things don't happen very often, and I think that they do have their special place.
Against the Phillies team that came in red hot on a 4-game winning streak. That doesn't happen either. 9 full counts in tonight's game, 159 pitches, 5 different pitchers. I mean, you can go on and on. The lotto chance of this happening with all of these numbers is impossible, really, to even think about. But maybe you're in a year where the impossible is possible.
Well, and I think the point that you make, which is an interesting one, is that, sometimes no-hitters are accomplished when teams are mailing it in. Phillies didn't mail it in tonight. They battled every at-bat as hard as they possibly could. They ran deep counts. They saw tons of pitches. They had lots of opportunities because of that, and yet still couldn't come through with a hit.
I mean, none better than Kyle Schwarber, who got 3 walks tonight and facing some nasty pitching. So they were battling as tough as they could. The ninth inning became academic just because Diaz ended up being the best version of Diaz.
The Mets' 61st season, their second ever no-hitter. This one a combination job. A little from column A, column B, C, D, and E.
Exactly.
And Tyler McGill started it. Edwin Diaz finished it. And the Mets have the second no-hitter in their history, and they're now 15-6 on the season. Mets win this one 3-0 to take the opener of the series from the Phillies in no-hit fashion. 6 walks, 13 strikeouts, an amazing night at Citi Field. McGill